Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Catchup with Mayo live stream on Saturday, late afternoonish, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm joined by Gary so far. Hey, Gary, what's the good word? And Ramoga, what's on your so-called mind? There you go. It's two of my favorite lines. And Harold, hello. Harold says, I love the new Paul McCartney album. You and almost everybody else. You know, it's hard to find somebody that doesn't like the new album or love the new album. So that's it. Talking about this album, which I have handy here, the CD version. The Boys of Dungeon Lane, Paul McCartney. An album that has just gone to number one on the official UK charts. Yeah, he's got the number one album again in the UK. So there you have that, folks. That's good news. Okay, George. Hello, hello. Hello, Mike. So everybody, what's a good word? What's on your so-called minds? We're slow on comments right at the moment. I'm waiting. What can I tell you? I've been listening to this album so much, and it just gets better and better. And songs that used to be lesser on my list of preferences now sometimes switch positions and come up more. Really, really pretty amazing. Pretty amazing accomplishment from Paul, considering he's going to be 84 years old in about 12 days. Hold on a minute. Where's the comment? There it is. 4D Man. Hello, 4D Man. Let's find out if anyone has heard the Dungeon Lane download commentaries. Well, the problem is, if you want to look at it as a problem, those are available online. I mean, Paul's talked about, if not those exact commentaries, don't know if it's the exact commentaries you can get on the download ones, but if not those, Paul has talked about the songs from this album, and relatively easy to locate. So it's a waste of money. Okay, now that the album's out of the way, what's coming next? Okay. Paul didn't do this LP alone. Well, aside from himself and Andrew Watt, the producer, and he also contributed to some of the songs Andrew Watt did, and also a little bit of the instrumentation, from what I understand. But this is a pretty mostly Paul McCartney endeavor here. You got to give him that. Okay, I was hoping you would ask my thoughts on Curse of the Demon tonight on Svengoolie. I think it's one of the greatest of all 1950s horror films, monster films, what you might call occult films, about the occult. It's about demonic forces. It's about magic. Has a monster, has a bunch of stuff. And I think it's one of the best. Hello, Penny Lane. What's the good word? Yes, indeed. I just heard that somewhere. It's number one in the UK. There you go. Fine, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Are you trying to disparage the success of this wonderful record? I don't know. That poor street sign keeps getting stolen. Hello, Jim. Did you see Dixon on Tone's quiz? He couldn't name the four Beatles. Well, yeah, I did see the quiz. But sometimes, I played the quiz too. I was the first contestant. I played that quiz, the Beatley Tone quiz, before they really found their way, and I was finding my way, and it was very rough. So I could have done better. That's the thing. I did well for the first contestant, but I could have done better had I known how to play the game a little more, had I waited after a few other contestants played. But yeah, I saw Andrew on there, Andrew Dixon. I did. And he had a little trouble, but he did it. He did it. It was entertaining. It's an entertaining show. If you could AI Paul's vocals from 75 into his recent album, would you listen? And is someone doing that right at this moment? I don't know if anybody's doing that, but you're completely missing the point. If you think that Paul's vocals should be, I don't know if that's what you're saying, but if you think Paul's vocals on the new album need work, bullshit. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but boy, he did it. He did it. Whatever little bit of trickery or whatever they did, auto tuning or whatever, it's perfect. They did a great job. Paul sounds mature, sounds like his age, and but pretty good for his age. He sounds better here than he does live because it's in the studio, and I love it. Yes indeed, Harold. Yes indeed. Hello. Okay, Simon. Yes, hello. Ain't we lucky to have McCartney in 2026 and making us all happy? It's a nice feeling, and he's one of the only persons who can still do that. To me, brilliant album. Amen. It is a brilliant album. At first I wasn't calling it a potential classic. Now I am. I've been sitting with it I played it at least 12 times now. It's really a powerful album. It's really well done. It's consistent. And I know there are some people out there that's their gimmick, that they try to pick on things like that, try to find fault with it. Good luck. There were lots of Paul's interviews online. Yes, there are. I watched most of them. I thought they were kind of personal and intimate, different from years past. Yeah, very good. I agree with you. Intimate, personal. Paul's in good form, and most of these interviews, he's looking and sounding terrific. Back to the clock is quite intimidating. It is. I gotta say, when you're playing that game, the quiz show, and the clock is going tick, 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 it is very intimidating. If I was doing it again, I don't think I realized when I played the very first show that I could have said pass, and I could have answered a lot more questions. Wouldn't it be great if a live studio show for the whole album was performed? I wouldn't mind that. I don't know if it can be done. I've never seen the Blues Brothers, which is kind of weird, because I've seen other movies with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. I don't understand. I believe the picture disc sounds amazing. Okay, if you like that, I'll take it from you, because I haven't heard it yet myself. Bloodvessel says, no, I'm saying it would be interesting to hear since we have the technology. No, it wouldn't be interesting to hear. I'm against that. I think it's a terrible idea. I thank you for your opinion of it. But if you're asking me what I think of it, I think it's a terrible idea. Okay, there's a Liverpool petition to stop John Lennon Airport from flattening Dungeon Lane nature area to put in another runway. Okay, that's news to me. Hello, Bernard in Paris. Thank you for joining me. What Paul has just done is amazing and exciting for all of us. And like I said, I got at least one person in one of my comments, on my video, one of my videos, I should say, and he was saying, "Oh, just because it's Paul, everybody's praising it. They always praise Paul." That's so ridiculous. Not everybody praised McCartney 3, the last album. Not everybody praised Egypt Station. No, many did. And he's gotten God knows he's gotten his share of slings and arrows over the decades. You kidding me? Hello, Congaman. Jack, I saw that your face made the collage, right? There's a collage of people for Paul. Dungeon Lane has a nature spot near it with wild plants, insects, and animal life. It's a natural habitat. I remember watching Creature Feature back in 72. The opening up for Horror Incorporated scared the life out of me. I do remember Creature Feature in 72. At least here in the New York area, the Creature Features that we had. There's still life in Beatleland. Isn't that something? And I want people to remember this. It's 65 years ago, and I'm going to make a video on this. So it's my idea. I'm saying it here. But I made one video on this in the past. This year marks 61 years. I believe it is. Do I got the amount right? Wait a minute. 65. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Hold on. I can't do the math. 65 years. I'll be all right. 65 years this year that the Beatles have had music, that they've done something from 1961 when they did Ain't She Sweet, Cry for a Shadow, and My Bonnie and all that kind of stuff, till Boys of Dungeon Lane right now, presently. Every year there's been product out by all four of them, or one of them, or at least one song or an album. There's been something. 65 years of Beatles and solo this year. Has listening to Dungeon Lane made you go back to listen to a past Macca album? Not yet, Terry, not yet. I don't think. I listened to Flaming Pie, amazing album. It sure is. Okay. Mikey Arugula, what's going on? What do you think is the secret code that Paul McCartney agreed not to reveal at Forthland Road with John Lennon? I don't know. We'll never know. That's the whole point, because, right? He says, I'll what does he say? Never to be spoken. He'll never break the promise. So I don't really know what it is. And I wonder if, maybe is there really no code? Maybe it's just something that's fit good into the song, So either we're not supposed to know or we'll never know. I saw the Beatles on Sullivan when I was 12 and 64. Well, it's a great age. The day the trumpet lessons died. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching a friend, Matthew Street. He was saying Dungeon Lane is superior to Tug of War, Off the Ground, and Flowers in the Dirt. I think he's blowing a fuse. I don't like Flowers in the Dirt very much. I think Flowers in the Dirt is a boring album, although I like about 4 or 5 songs on it. So it definitely blows Flowers in the Dirt away for me. It also is better than Off the Ground. I like Off the Ground. I always defend Off the Ground. I think it's a underrated album, but Dungeon Lane is better than that. I'm not sure about Tug of War at this point. Tug of War, I'm not sure that Dungeon Lane is better to me than Tug of War, but it's early yet, it's really early yet. I'm not a huge fan of AI, but the Stones in the Stars AI video was excellent, in my opinion, even though it's not real except for the music. I loved it. Hello, Joseph. What's the good word? It made me want to do a video about imaginary best of compilation from McCartney's later years. Yeah, it's always good to get incentive, especially if you have a video channel and you're getting ideas. We're always looking for ideas for content, I can't answer this. I don't know The Office, the show The Office very well. Get Out of My Way is a great little rocker. I think Get Out of My Way is serviceable. I've never liked it that much. I mean, it's okay. Get Out of My Way is a serviceable rocker. It's a typical thing he just knocks off in his sleep. It's not one of his best rockers, in my opinion, but it's serviceable. I don't agree at all. You say My Brave Face and Rough Ride's better than anything on Dungeon. Well, as I say, thank you for your opinion. It's welcome. Please, anybody that has an opinion, please voice it. But I like My Brave Face and I like Rough Ride, but I'm not so sure that they're better than anything on Dungeon. My Brave Face, I've never been a big fan of it. I like it. Never been a huge fan of the song My Brave Face. And Rough Ride is I think it's the second track on the album, and I like it. I always like Rough Ride, but that can't compare, in my opinion. Okay, I like some songs by Cream, and I like Jimi Hendrix pretty much. Hello, Matt. Oh, hello. I said hello to this guy, Matt Stickman. Hello. I agree. There should be a compilation from Flaming Pie music that came after. Right now, Dungeon Lane has yet to chart officially on the Billboard US 200 list. People are telling me that it's been said that even though it hasn't officially debuted yet, people are predicting it's due to debut at number 5 which for this particular album to debut 5, that's a little disappointing to me. I think it's a number 1 album, but it is what it is. It's the main thing is it's charted in the official charts in England, the UK. So Paul, it can be said in the history books, Paul McCartney had a number 1 album with Dungeon Lane, and it fits and it counts and it's official. So that's all that matters, you know. I've always liked that song, "The World Tonight." I've liked that, and I do agree. I love the song "This One." Melodic masterpiece, better than anything on Dungeon. I don't know about that either, but you know, I love this one. That's my this one is probably my favorite song on the album, "Flowers in the Dirt." I think it should have been the first single instead of "My Brave Face." I don't know. I like it. What can I tell you? But I think this one is better than some of the songs on Dungeon Lane, but not all. All the best too. Bring it on. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's always been the way that they do things in the music. You know, they put out compilations, hits and histories, and best of, and more best of, and second best of, third best of. Elton John greatest hits 1, 2, and 3, whatever. You know. McCartney claims that Dungeon Lane got to number 1. What do you mean claims? As far as I know, it hit the official UK charts number 1. As far as I understand it, I mean, I think it has. Unless I'm making a mistake and Paul's making a mistake, you know. I know you're against downloads, but some youngsters I know have downloaded Dungeon Lane. That's how they do it today. Yes, I don't give a damn how they do it today. I don't care for it, and I don't do it. But I know there's some people out there, they think they're getting something by doing that. But I don't like it. Unpopular opinion: Sgt. Pepper is better than Dungeon Lane. Well, I'd like to know how that's an unpopular opinion. I would say Sgt. Pepper is better than Dungeon Lane too, but I know. All the best too would be great. Enough with compilation filled with Jet and Band on the. Oh yes, I can't always understand comments. All the best too would be great. Enough with compilations filled with Jet and Band on the Run, etc. Okay, I watched your review of Egypt Station. Gee, you look so much younger. I don't think so, but thank you. I think appreciate that. Ringo's album doesn't seem to have much attention compared to Look Up. I've noticed that. I think Ringo's new album, A Long, Long Road, is definitely a good Ringo album, but I like Look Up much better. And I also think you're right. It had staying power. People were talking about Look Up for some time after it came out in January of 2025. But Long, Long Road kind of got shelved pretty quick by most people, even though I think it's a good album. It's got fairly good reviews. Yes, Sgt. Pepper is different than Dungeon Lane, exactly. It's number 1 on the UK charts. I checked. Yeah, well, I know that already. Yeah, I mean, thank you for confirming it. Harold. Yeah, the downloads still register, absolutely. But yes, young people use it. Yes, they use downloads to partly register position on the charts. Hello to Paul, Psycho's Platter. What is your view of the Boys of Dungeon Lane? I don't know. Have you heard it? I don't know what your stance is on it. I said Dungeon Lane has yet to chart on the U.S. charts, the Billboard charts in the U.S., but it has already charted in the UK charts in England. Yes. Ringo's Long, Long Road is overshadowed by Paul. Dungeon Lane released too soon after. I forget when Ringo's album came out. When did Ringo's album come out? Long, Long Road. I can't remember now. The month, I mean. What month did it come out? Somebody please give me that date. I don't know if it was January, February, March. I can't remember when Ringo's album came. Or was it April even? I don't remember. Seems like he ran out of gas on Long, Long Road. Okay, Ringo's album came out in April. Well, that's too close. That's too close for sure. Yeah. Uh, do you think McCartney done all the variant colors because in the Beatles he got ripped off big time? No, I don't think Paul needs the money. I don't think money has anything to do with it. I think if anything, people say it's the record company that tried to get all those color variants and everything. It may be the record company, but I'll still firmly believe that Paul's aware of what they're doing and he's behind it. I mean, he's in support of it. I'm not saying behind it like it's his creation, but I believe he's in favor of it. And I don't think he did it for the money. If anything, he did it to try to sell more. That's what I think. Only my opinion. It's only my opinion. But I'll say, as I've said before, I believe that this album, Boys of Dungeon Lane, is such a great album that it deserves to be number one on its own merits, on its own strength and quality. Not only because he's selling like several copies of the same record to some fans, I hope so. This has Grammy written all over it. I mean, it just does. It seems like a perfect type of album for a Grammy. Okay. Hello, Freight Official. I love this record. Really appreciate all your commentary on it very much. My only negative was the roll is slow roll of the different variants. I did a review video too. Yeah, I didn't like, if they're going to have all these variants, I don't like how slow they roll them out. Yeah, maybe Ringo's album was too recent. What's the next single from Dungeon Lane? I think they're talking about Come Inside, which I think is the next one. It's kind of an up-tempo, more rocking track, and I think it's a good choice. You got Days We Left Behind, and then you had Home to Us, and now you got possibly Come Inside. Mistress and Maid and The Lovers That Never Were on Flowers in the Dirt. Costello collaboration are amazing. I disagree. You see you and I disagree a lot, sir, but it's okay. You can't agree on everything. I like Off the Ground, but I'm not thrilled with Elvis Costello. I never really loved him working with Paul, and I tolerate the songs they did together more than love them. And I don't really love Mistress and Maid and The Lovers That Never Were at all. I know I'm in a minority on that because I like other songs from Off the Ground, but that's never been one of my favorites. Two of my favorites. Okay, my favorite cover for Dungeon Lane is the plain white gatefold. It's the most classy, like the White Album. Yeah, it's a very, very nice white albumish design. I agree. I wish 12-inch remixes were still available. Some Dungeon Lane tunes extended would be great. Yeah, that's. I wonder if he's going to do that. There you go. That's what I think. Okay, Psycho's Platter says, so far what I heard I liked. It has a Flaming Pie vibe with occasional 70s like flourishes. Like it better than McCartney 3 for sure. I agree with that. And, it does have Flaming Pie flourishes here and there. I think, maybe Lost Horizon, which is one of my very favorite songs. It's very underrated, I find. The second track, Lost Horizon, I love it. And, I think that's Flaming Pie-ish. But there's other songs on there that sound like a little like new. A few songs on there that sound like Egypt Station. There's a little bit of this, little bit of that on it, And Mountaintop is good. That's slightly psychedelic and trippy. Trippy is a better word. I think trippy. Trippy, man. I like Mountaintop. The best album of 2026. Well, I haven't heard the others. I'm not getting any Stones variants. The Off the Ground period, Tripping the Life Fantastic was a great period for Macca, though. I think Lost Horizon should be the next single. Well, I love it, but apparently I'm in a minority. A lot of people think that's one of the lesser tracks on the album. And Gary didn't like any of Paul's collaborations with Elvis Costello. I did like very much the song Back on My Feet. I like that song. That was a good one. Has all his U.S. TV appearances now dried up, or is there any show that he's appearing on? Right now, I don't know of any. I think Paul changed the narrative. I heard the Playboy interview of John, where he implies that George co-wrote, look at all the lonely people bit. And John wrote lots of lyrics on it. I think everybody's got their different memories of this. And I think Pete Shotton said that, Eleanor Rigby, he was at a writing session or something, and a lot of people contributed. I think my feeling is that Paul is not the only one that wrote Eleanor Rigby, but I think you're holding something back, Paul, in this case, because I think, it's one of his greatest, most classic tunes, songs, works of art. And I don't think he wants to give any credit for that one, but I heard that George Harrison wrote, look at all the lonely people. I heard that too. Okay, Boys of Dungeon Lane has entered my top 5 Paul solo albums, not including the Wings records. Okay, well, let me see. I included the Wings records too. I mean, when I did my list, where the hell is my list? Let's see. And if I include the Wings albums I have right now, this could change. I have Boys of Dungeon Lane at number 7. If I only include McCartney albums, it might be number 4. So there you go. There you go. We don't know yet. Listen to the Dungeon Lane vinyl and get back to us. I'm in no hurry to do that. I do have some copies. There's one back here. See? I'm in no hurry to do that. But I've heard that the vinyl sounds better. Did any of the Beatles ever talk to Pete Best for any reason over the years? I've never read or heard that they did. I believe they never have. I believe that maybe, I don't know if they were too regretful or ashamed about what happened or at the way Pete was let go, but they've never seemed to ever reach out. Apparently, Mal and Neil contributed as well to the lyrics of Eleanor Rigby. Apparently, I'm pretty much of the belief that it's not just Paul who wrote Eleanor Rigby. Apart from Dungeon Lane, what else have you listened to? Why listen to anything else? I haven't. I have this Beatles channel that I run, and right now there's all these shows I'm doing on Dungeon Lane. So that's it, man. Matthew Street was super in your live stream. Great duo. Thanks. Just check if you want to just check it. Check out my live stream. Sometimes you got to hit the playlists. People are afraid to hit playlists. You go on the main page, the home page. You look where it says all the features. Hit playlists and look at Fab Gab. That's a show that I have, Fab Gab. I don't know why Pete Best Sutcliffe was not included in the artwork, but Johnny Hutchinson was. I don't know why that is. That doesn't make sense, does it? I know that was brought out before. That's very strange. Very strange. McCartney has leftover tracks. Yes, maybe we'll get a relatively quick follow-up album, just like Watt and the Stones are doing. Hackney Diamonds wasn't too long ago. Correct. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel like the Boys of Dungeon Lane is such a great last album. It's already hit success. It's already doing well. It would be a good way to finish his career, but Paul doesn't like resting. I mean, luckily for us, and he probably will do something else. But there's at least, I'm saying, like, there's 10 or 11, I think maybe 11 more tracks that we haven't heard, and that's almost a full album right there. So who knows what he's going to do. Shifting gears, have you heard any of Syd Barrett's relatively short output, either with Pink Floyd or solo? I mean, I know some Pink Floyd. That's about all I could say. Neil Aspinall was in contact with Pete. No Mal Evans or George Martin either on the artwork. Strange. Well, the only thing I'm thinking was I didn't, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't studied the artwork enough. I haven't really studied enough as I should yet, the collage. But I will say that a lot of it is early, like the early days before they even got to George Martin, maybe. So I don't know. Lost Horizon is one of my favorite songs. I'm not sure why people aren't liking it as much. I agree with you, Joe. Yeah, my girlfriend thinks it's the best song on the album. She loves it. Every time that song comes on, we're playing it in the car. She just really loves it. She gets into. She always says, "God, I love this song." So, as I say, it's not hard. Well, in a way, it's hard to understand because I like it so much that why don't other people see anything in it? But everybody's got different opinions. I keep listening to Salesman Saint on Dungeon Lane. Really beautiful song and touching. Yeah, Salesman Saint is one now it's grown on me, and it works within the context of the album. But it is far from my favorite track on it. But I do enjoy it. I like all the songs. The thing is, all the names of streets Paul must have been. I mean, I can't. I'm sorry. Let me slow down, boy. Thing is, all the names of streets Paul must have been down in his life in Liverpool. That album could have been called anything. Okay, my least favorite Paul album since 2000 has been McCartney 3. The only song I really like from it is Lavatory Little. That's a good, fun track. They were right to dump Pete. Even John said he was a horrible drummer. It had nothing to do with he was getting all the attention. I agree. He was a weak drummer, and also he was not a very good Beatle. He wasn't he didn't have a quick sense of humor and a quick wit, really. He wasn't like the others, Ringo was. There you go. There's a thought. Vinyl sounds the best. Enjoying the Atmos remix streaming, but we need a physical copy of the surround. Actually, Macca recorded both Stone songs in one day. One released on Hackney Diamonds, another one will be released now. Yes, he said that in an interview. Yeah. I never thought Paul's and Elvis's songwriting styles were compatible with each other. I like both their songwriting styles, but they're not complementary to each other. That's interesting. Well, I know that one of the things that Paul liked so much working with Elvis Costello was the fact that it was a lot like working with John Lennon. He said, he'd be like a lot like John and telling him straight about things. This is good. That's not good. And they kind of like bounced off each other. So that was interesting. Would it be a bad idea if he re-recorded some of his past works, maybe some deep cut reworks? No thoughts on that myself. No, there's no need to do that, in my opinion. That's my answer off the top of my head, my gut reaction. Shame that once Macca releases something, John gets pushed way back into the shadows. Well, it's hard not to, Much as I love John, the man's going to be dead 46 years. Think about that. 46 years John's dead. And every time, sadly, of course, anytime we watch films of John or we play music by John, we're way back in the 1970s, the 70s, the Nixon administration. I mean, a long time ago, political times that are different than now. I mean, just everything different. Everything different times. It's so old. And it's sad. It's sad that we don't have anything. If you imagine if that jackass, that jerk of all jerks hadn't killed John, he would be on Saturday Night Live. He would have been on with Howard Stern joking around. He would have been on all the talk shows, David Letterman and, and even this new crew of guys that they have, the talk show hosts. And he would have how many albums? He might have had 10 more albums, at least 10 more. Same thing with George Harrison. We were robbed. Yes, indeed. This is the truth. Yes, indeed. Yes, I played Dungeon Lane in the car quite a bit. Yes. Derek Taylor and Brian Epstein are there, and Neil Aspinall is on the collage. Okay. I think people should write to them and say, hey, put Stu Sutcliffe on there. Stu Sutcliffe should be on there. And so Pete Best too, I think. It would have been nice, but they might have had to pay him, right? They had to pay him, I am not a fan of headphones. I listen very rarely on through headphones, and the only reason I do that is because to me that's not the natural way to hear music. Naturally, if you put headphones on, everything's going to sound a lot better. I mean, there have been times where I've done it. If I'm going to review an album, when I first get not this one, I didn't, but I mean when I'm listening to the last Lennon set, I had it on. The big like 90 songs or something like that. But anyway, I'm not a fan of headphones. Do you think Paul would ever do an instrumental album? His melodies could make a great, relaxing listen. Well, I think he has. He's already done instrumental albums. This is a good question. Favorite side of Dungeon Lane, 1 or 2? I think I'm going to go against the grain here and say that I prefer side 1 of Dungeon Lane. It's As You Lie There, followed by Lost Horizon, Days We Left Behind, Ripples in a Pond, Mountaintop. Right there, you've got 1, 2, 3. I think the first 5 songs are the best. But I mean, when I say the best, the way they flow together, the best sequencing. And then after you do that, you have Down South, which I think is a little weak, and We Too to close out the side, which is one of the weaker tracks. I mean, again, I like Down South, and I like We Too, but they close out their last two tracks of the 7 on side A. I like side 1 better, but they're all good. Hello, James. What's going on? I saw that video. It was quite good, actually. Yes, I did see it a long time ago. Like Archive and the colored vinyl, another series stalling. The 50th anniversary half-speed masters. What happened to Wings at the Speed of Sound? Yeah, I'm hearing that still may come out. Hopefully by the end of the year, but I don't know that for sure. But that's the guess of all the Beatle people. McCartney 3 is a great album. Still play it. I mean, I just played it about 3-4 weeks ago, and I still like a lot of tracks off it, but I liked it a lot more when it came out than I do now. I think it's gone down in my estimation a bit, and that happens from time to time because something rises up, an album better than you thought in the past. Sometimes it goes down, changes. Okay. The album New or Dungeon Lane, which is better? That's one that I'm struggling. Right now, I think I prefer New over Dungeon Lane by a little bit. But, that could change. I will tell you that I have now felt that Dungeon Lane is better than Chaos and Creation, in my opinion. I mean, I like Dungeon Lane better than Chaos and Creation because while Chaos and Creation in the Backyard is a terrific album, it's very serious, very heavy, very down to earth business here, and that's fine because Paul didn't really do that. What I liked about that album was he got more intense and more serious and vulnerable, a lot like John Lennon. He was getting more like John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band LP. It was like, this is serious. And this album, The Boys at Dungeon Lane now, is like Chaos and Creation in a way. It has a lot of personal stuff on it. It's serious in places, but it's a lot of fun and it brings some joy and it's a little pop here and there. It's like it's an improved version of Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. That's what I think, in my opinion. Okay, I don't know this. I don't think we're going to get a cube of The Boys at Dungeon Lane, but never say never. Hey, look at this. Mikey Arugula says my favorite track is Never Know, which is really interesting. You're interesting. I know Beatley Tone loves that too. I love Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. It's one of my all-time favorite movies and one of my favorite Abbott and Costello movies, one of my favorite of the classic monsters, Frankenstein monster, Dracula, and the Wolfman. Yeah, George Martin's also not on the collage, so it doesn't mean anything. Okay, McCartney did an interview with, I don't know who that is, in a chip shop, and he said how he bought a bracket saying Linda I love you, which spelled Lily before she died. It's worth a watch. I don't know if that's what I don't know if I saw that one. I'm trying to get them in my mind. I'm getting them mixed up. I've seen a lot of these new interviews with Paul. Okay, the Dungeon Lane collage is like pepper. I've noticed the new Pink Floyd 8-track album cover looks the same type of art design. Okay, favorite Beatles bootlegs, both live and studio. Well, one of the first Beatles bootlegs I ever got, which is still to this day, worth having on vinyl if you can find it, is 5 Nights in a Judo Arena. That's one of the first ones I got. I think I got my copy in 1975 or 6. And it's a bootleg. It's the Beatles live in Japan, which still hasn't been out. So that's still one of my favorite live, probably the favorite live. And then the studio. Well, my favorite studios were at first when not Past Masters, Unsurpassed Masters came out. I think Ultra Rare Tracks, they were called Ultra Rare Tracks or Unsurpassed Masters. Those are when we got all the excellent studio quality outtakes of songs that eventually would get released, but some of them we still don't have officially released. Early songs mostly. There's bits and pieces on As You Lie There that are reminiscent of Ram. I'd go along with that. I love how all these songs are really familiar to you now. This time last week, we're still experimenting and dissecting it all. That's what happens. That's why some people would like you to wait 2 weeks before you do a review. Personally, I feel I got to put it out there. I mean, I try not to go in cold with only one listen or something like that. I like to listen to it 4 or 5 times first, at least, which is what I did. My main way of listening to music right now is CD. Okay, I do like vinyl, and I own a lot of vinyl, but I just live in an apartment right now where I can't really get to the vinyl. I have a turntable up here, but it's surrounded, and you can't really get to it. A lot of stuff, so it's a little bit of a chore to get to it. And because I live in the apartment I live in, I can't crank it the way I'd like it. With the CD, I can play. It's easy to get to the CD. I have a CD player in here, and I can play it easier. But also, I play it in the car, and this car sounds great. People hear that you play it in the car, they go, "Oh, that must sound like shit." No, it doesn't. It depends on your system. Mine's good. I don't know. It seems as though we're more likely to get a Dungeon Lane archive before we get London Town and Back to the Egg. That's a good bet, maybe, but I'm still holding up hope. I still think we're going to get more of the McCartney archives, and I would think that they have to at least give you the rest of the Wings albums, London Town and Back to the Egg. It's hard to compare because Paul sounded younger on Chaos and New. Yes, but Chaos certainly, because Chaos was 2005, but New was 2013, and that's 13 years ago. But I would argue that Paul sometimes sounds kind of better on some of these tracks than he did even on New, or as good. He sounds as good because of whatever they did in the studio. So I think the sound of Paul's vocals are comparable to New. It's been great to see all you YouTube Beatle people all excited and animated, like little children with a new toy. Hey, it doesn't come along that often. Let's enjoy, right? We don't know how many more we're going to get from Paul or Ringo. Now we'll have to take a second look at the Free as a Bird video to see if we can spot Dungeon Lane. True, Daniel. Elvis Costello's cover of She is a masterpiece. Hello, Marcus. Thanks for joining us. There's another couple on YouTube who are in the process of reviewing all the Beatles albums. The Couple Crib is their YouTube name. The girl is such a big fan of Lennon and gets giddy. I have to try that, but I got to remember the name. Remind me of the name sometime. When it's his song, when she gets giddy, you should check them out. Fantastic. Wonder if Paul had to get permission to use the name Dungeon Lane, or if he had to get in touch with the Liverpool City Council. I saw you on Larry Graves. That's a good time to promote this over at Canadian Stud Muffin. I did a live stream over there earlier today. Don't go there now. Don't stop watching this. But if you want to watch it later, people are going to disappear now. I did one over there, and it was a lot of fun. And we had some other guests with us on there. And please, this is the time I'm going to ask you to hit the like button. If you hit the like button, it helps me. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the like button, and it helps the algorithm. Okay, will you be disappointed if it doesn't make number one in the U.S.? Will you lose faith in U.S. music listeners? I've already lost faith in the music companies, and most of the listeners. But yeah, it will disappoint me because I think this album is worthy of a number one. If it was a mediocre album and it made it to number one, and it didn't make it to number one, I wouldn't feel that way. I mean, it doesn't matter. Again, some people say it's not about the number on the chart. It's about the quality of the album. And we all know that. I know that. If you ask me, would you rather have a good album or would you rather have a number one position? Well, I'd rather have a good album. But even better is both. So I don't have to choose one or the other. Yeah, you could be right about this. You could be right. I watched the Paul concert in Japan from about 10 years ago. Wow, his voice was still in great condition. There you go. Yes, indeed. I found that out when I watched Saturday Night Live. I didn't, I wouldn't know Chad Smith from a hole in the wall before that show. What is first? The rest of the Wings album, London Town and Back to the Egg, or the deluxe of Rubber Soul and Help? Wow. That's a good question. If I was going to bet, and I have nothing to go on with this at all. This is totally guesswork. If I was going to bet, I'd say we get Rubber Soul before we got Help and before we got the rest of the Wings archives. Hello, Bitsong. What's going on? But life can be hard, along with a couple of others might have been born out of his It's a Wonderful Life, which probably will never be released. Yeah, Paul was going to be working on an adaptation, what do they call it? A Broadway thing, something, a showing of It's a Wonderful Life. And I think COVID squashed that, which is fine with me because not for nothing, but I didn't care about him doing It's a Wonderful Life. But yeah, who knows? It's possible that it could have been, some of those songs might have been in the works for that project. Yes, I thought it was funny, Paul, as Nigel the mechanic on Saturday Night Live. I thought it was amusing. And I don't give my compliments to Saturday Night Live that easily because I think it sucks. It's been sucky for a lot of years now, But whenever I happen to watch it. Anyway, okay, Elvis Costello's Oliver Army, I don't know, that doesn't get banned, but Lennon's Woman is the Bleep does. Well, you have to talk to the Lennon camp about that. They felt that they didn't want to risk it. Is Paul seen as cooler now than he was in the 70s? I wasn't alive then to know, but it seems like John was liked more back then. For a long time, John was thought of as being cooler than Paul. And I'm going to tell you, you got to give John something because it seems like John's losing it all. There was a time when people said John was the avant-garde one and the more risque one, and they let him have that. Now Paul's trying to grab. I was the one that was the most avant-garde and risque. John, and other things too that they're kind of like. John is getting sapped of everything. It's just like getting drained, like a freaking like an orange that's dehydrated. That's what's happening to him. But anyway, I do think Paul is cooler now than he once was. I think Paul is very cool as an older man. I think Paul in his 80s is cool. But, it is what it is. Let's hope you're right. Though maybe instead of Rubber Soul, I heard Yellow Submarine Magical Mystery Tour Deluxe is a possibility. Well, there's nothing official. I don't know, like, if you heard it, I would be curious to know what you just heard it in gossip, fan talk like this, because nobody on the inside has said anything yet. But I'd like to see a Yellow Submarine and Magical Mystery Tour set. Did you see the Paul post where he claimed he's the one who stole the Dungeon Line street sign? I don't believe I have. McCartney has always been cool and approachable, but his ego is way cooler and bigger. It's like traveling back in time when you listen to Lennon and Harrison. Still great music that doesn't really date but can't be refreshed. All right, I actually have a moment to take a sip of water. Thank you all for being here, and I welcome more of your comments and questions. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please check out my other channels. I got 2 other channels. One of them is a movie channel for movies, television, nostalgia, pop culture, collecting stuff like that. And the other one is just a channel about life, getting along in life, and struggles, the good and bad of life. So I got 3 channels. At some point in time, the Dakota apartments may be available. If you had the money, would you want to live there? That's an interesting question. If I was a multi-millionaire and had tons of millions or billions, I don't think I'd live there, though. I don't think so. No. What struggles have I got? We've all got struggles. As long as we're human beings, we've got struggles. If you want to find out some of the rant, I don't talk about all of them, but we got our health problems and we got our money problems, financial problems, so here's the channel here. If you want to check some of them out, go to this one. Mayo Loves Mondays, my favorite day of the week. Why is Monday my favorite day of the week? Because I'm retired and everybody goes to work and to school and they're gone. And I have the whole weekdays to enjoy myself. So Mayo Loves Mondays. There it is. And my other one, of course, is Mr. Cinemayo. It's a different one, Cinemayo. For movies, television, nostalgia, pop culture, Mr. Cinemayo. It's easy enough. If you look at my regular channel, you can find the links. All right. Let's see. A journalist who interviewed Mimi, John's Aunt Mimi, claims that she told him that John did go to visit her in the 70s. Did go? Beatles made the best album of the year several times in the 60s, but do you think they ever did in the 70s as solo artists? Well, in order for me to figure that out, I'd have to know more albums by other artists in the 70s. That's interesting. I don't know. Well, 1971, you have Ram and you have Imagine, but you got Tapestry, Carole King's Tapestry in 71. And there's other stuff too. And then there's probably lots of great stuff in 73. And that's hard to say. I'm hard pressed to come up with one in the 70s, really, other than Ram or Imagine, maybe. We come here to get away from our struggles. Okay, well then the channel is, you can come here at the Beatles channel to get away from your struggles, and you can come to the movie channel to get away from your struggles. But maybe you want some empathy, you want to sympathize, go to the lifestyle channel. Life can be hard. Danny loves Dungeon Lane. He actually got the CD, and we'll talk about that. Hopefully he'll talk more about Dungeon Lane on the next show we do on the Mayo Loves Mondays channel with Danny as part of it. Anthony doesn't care. I don't think Anthony's heard anything off Dungeon Lane. Anthony, are you out there? Come on, man. He doesn't have the album. He doesn't follow the solo Beatles or anything. He's a fan of the Beatles and some solo. He likes the Beatles up to like 75, like everybody else. So I'd say no other, maybe All Things Must Pass. How can I forget about All Things Must Pass? All Things Must Pass is worthy of being album of the year, but There's a lot of good stuff in 1970, though. Let's face it. But as far as Plastic Ono Band, to me, that's just too harsh. It's too harsh of an album. I want to mention, I'm going to talk a little bit about something, Marcus, I'm kind of pissed off about with Paul. Okay. He says it's annoying how Paul couldn't just say that both me and John were very avant garde. Trying to claim that only for himself is foolish because history shows that John did a lot of experimental stuff. Everybody's trying to drain him. As a matter of fact, when I'm watching a lot of new Paul interviews, there's one around where I don't forget which one it was because they're all kind of running together in my mind. Where he says, John slagged me off, in songs. He was writing songs about me. And he's, I know John was slagging Paul off in interviews, like the Rolling Stone interview, the infamous Rolling Stone interview, right? But he says John was slagging me off in songs, writing songs. And Paul, if you're going to talk about songs, I believe he started that with the Ram album, Too Many People, and maybe some other things here and there. But, don't forget, Paul mentioned How Do You Sleep? He was writing songs about that. How do you sleep and things? Well, you forgot that you wrote Too Many People against John, and that How Do You Sleep was a response to you. And that doesn't come out if you're like a new fan, if you're a young fan and you watch that, all that's going to do is add to your hatred of John. All that's going to do is hate to your, John was a lousy father to Julian. John, left Cynthia for Yoko. Both of them are such angels and all this, and John was mean, or what John was a wife abuser, which he wasn't, and all that. On and on and on. And here's another one, he also started attacking Paul with the music. How Do You Sleep was a response to Paul, so. What singer or song can't you stand if they come on the radio or if it goes? I have to really think about it. I don't know. I wish I could give you an answer for that. Exile on Main Street, the Stones in the 70s. I watched a Magical Mystery Tour last night. Imagine seeing that for the first time in the 60s. Laugh out loud. Yeah. It wasn't well received at the time. The Beatles only have 10 Grammys compared to some of today's artists. Isn't that ridiculous? Well, the Grammys are generally a joke anyway. Do I watch Andrew Dixon on YouTube? Yes, I do. I mean, do I watch every single video? No. And I don't think he watches every one of my videos either, but I keep an eye on him. I think us people on YouTube, where I can't think of the words when you're together, it's contemporaries. He's one of my contemporaries, I know the word I'm looking for, but yeah, I keep an eye on everybody. I see what they're up to. They see what I'm up to. Is the Let It Be album better than all of the 70s solo albums? I wouldn't say that Let It Be is better than All Things Must Pass, maybe. But the All Things Must Pass might be better. I don't know. If you could have one thing from Mikey Arugula's collection, what would it be? Wow. I should have an answer for this. I'm thinking about it. I like that Beatles 6 display. He's got a big display for the American album, the Beatles 6. That's one thing that pops in my head. I guess that's the first thing that came in, to mind. The more Macca speaks, the more he changes his story. What's the next film to watch? That remains to be seen. No cinema trips planned that I know of. I've been seeing those same interviews, Joe. He's been playing the victim for years now, wanting to make it out that these Lennon digs come completely out of left field. Right. Now, look, believe me, folks, I'm not trying to do a John versus Paul thing here, but, John's not here to defend himself, okay? And Okay, hello, Jeff. Jeff got his McCartney CD and really enjoyed it. Very good. Continue to enjoy it. Paul definitely started the back and forth. John was just responding to Ram, although I think John mistakenly thought Dear Boy was about him. Right. Dear Boy was not about John. It turned out to be about Linda's ex-husband. But I don't blame John for that, because, he says Paul doesn't print his lyrics. And, whenever there's somebody that's very, very sneaky about things, very subtle about things, what are you supposed to think? How are you supposed to know, you know? John made a guitarist in the Turtles quit after sardonic responses. It never ends. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm just reading the comment there. Macalo's telling the same stories. What is that? But sometimes he changes the story to self-serve. Like that BS about Blackbird. Well, the jury's out on that, the Blackbird thing, I used to think he kind of changed the civil rights thing later about Blackbird. Now I'm thinking maybe it was his intent all along. I don't know. The Dungeon Lane promo card in that shop that you want, you still got your eyes on it? Yeah, but I don't expect that I'm going to get it. I'm trying for it, I love Paul's new album. I think Paul's new album is really great. I think it's a really good one. Yep. There it is, Richard James, Oh Solo Mayo. Sing it, Oh Solo Mayo. I will be amazed if the new Rolling Stones album is as good as Hackney Diamonds. I hope it is. Well, I really loved Hackney Diamonds, and I just like with this new Paul album, I think you leave well enough alone, man. If you have a great album like Hackney Diamonds, you're taking a chance trying to top it. Yeah, that too. Don't forget, on the back of the Ram cover, you got one Beatle screwing another Beatle, and Paul put that on first. And I know that John did the Rolling Stone interview, but he talked a lot of smack about Paul and everybody else. But he had a lot of hostility in him, and he felt like him and Yoko were getting treated bad and all this, and he was not happy at the time. He changed later. However, the other Beatles really screwed Paul over. They forced his hand to sue them, which was the right thing to do. The Beatles are what they are today because of Paul getting back the rights. Okay. Yeah, give credit where it's due. He was right about Alan Klein, Yeah, I know this. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I know that audio talking to Donovan. I've had that on a bootleg LP for quite some time. Did anyone notice the Strawberry Fields Mellotron flutes on Never Know? I don't know. I don't know if I recognize it as from the Strawberry Fields Mellotron, but maybe it is. I never thought about that. I know. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not interested. I don't care about soccer. I'm sorry, Terry, not at all. I saw an interview with Mick Jagger from the 70s where he jokes with the interviewer about whether he would still be performing in the 60s with a walker. Yes, indeed. And there's a video of Paul in 68 talking about Blackbird civil rights. It's on YouTube. Let's start the Paul defending now. Let's do it. Paul's had a lot of defending. How about some John defending? It's only me and Marcus Thompson. That's it. There you go. Yes, I have tons of photos with me as a child with aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, you name it. Yes. I don't know if I'd say McCartney 3 hasn't aged well, but I can tell you that I don't think it's as good now as I did when it first came out. I liked it better 6 years ago. There's still stuff I like about it, but I liked it better 6 years ago. I don't know if it's a matter of aging, John's actions deserved any lashing out from Paul on Ram. Well, I know it's always, like I say, I appreciate your appearance here. Please keep writing. But okay, thanks for your opinion. It's always the same, Can't say anything bad about Paul in any way, shape, or form. He's good old Paulie, and there's no criticisms allowed. Even though I'm heaping a hell of a lot of praise on him for this wonderful new album, when he deserves it, I'll give it to him. No, I'm not listening to Dungeon Lane later today. No, not today. Deep Feeling still sounds as good today from McCartney 3. Yep, yes indeed. His album is number 1. My girlfriend said her favorite track by far is Lost Horizon. Very good taste. It's a very good underrated song on this album. She really likes it. I think we got a dead space here. It's 65 minutes into the stream. Is this the lull? Yeah, Ripples in a Pond. I like that as well. It's about Nancy. The song's about it, Paul's wife. Am I doing the movie stream Monday? Right now, it looks like it. Looks like I'm doing it. For those who don't know, over at my Mr. Cinemayo movie channel, we do a movie talk. I have some guests up here. It's over on my movie channel, Mr. Cinemayo. And we do movie talks on Monday late afternoons, early evenings. I've never wished I had a garden in my life. Oh, man. Yeah. Maybe an empty garden. So you're using the word masterpiece. I'm kind of using it too with little reservations. I mean, I think it's destined to be a masterpiece. I think it's certainly a latter-day masterpiece. Latter, Latter. It's a latter-day masterpiece from Paul at this age. Yeah, it deepens your Beatle fandom to be able to say when things ain't perfect. You'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of Beatle fans out there. They only want to hear positive all the time. I suspect, and I'm not sure, but I suspect that's why. I mean, there's certain people I notice. I guess it's natural that it happens when I'm doing live streams like this or videos. Or you'll see comments from people, the same people. Sometimes some new people I don't recognize, but there's certain people that are on other Beatle channels live streams and they never come here. And I'm sure, and I've got people, I guess, here that they never see over there. It's just the way it goes. But I'm like, why? What do you think I bite or something? What is the deal? Be honest about it. Anybody's out there right now watching me, I can take it. I don't mind constructive criticism. They think I'm too negative. They're too nasty. I'm too nasty. I'm real, man. That's why John was my favorite Beatle. I mean, like I said, though, there's an old saying: being honest will never get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right ones. I like people that like honesty. You see how much I love Paul's new album? You see how much I'm raving about it? Coming from me, that's from the heart, because I don't just praise everything that Paulie does. I say if I don't care for something. And when I'm saying things like he sounds really good on this album, I thought he was good on Saturday Night Live. And when when I say I see him in the interviews and he looks great and he sounds great in the interviews, he sounds better than he has. Because there was a time not too long ago where I thought his voice sounded worse, his speaking voice even. So if I'm saying all these positive things about him, it's true with me. I'm not just giving lip service from people who just have nothing to say but positive all the time about not just Paul, but anything, about the weather, about the world, about the other Beatles, about other music. It's like some things are good, some things are bad, some things are somewhere in the middle. Now, do you need me to tell you that? Sometimes I think people do. Watched a Paul video for Only Love Remains from Press to Play. I enjoyed it. A lot of Paul's videos I've never seen. Well, keep watching them. How do you define horror as in horror film? There's a lot, the word horror in horror films have a lot of different meanings to them. They could be mild horror from the 30s and 40s and suggestive horror, subliminal horror, or outright slashes and gore. Could be a lot of things. Do you think Paul has another perfect album in him? I'll be honest with you. I was very skeptical about this one. I didn't think he had this one in him, and he surprised me pleasantly so. He took a lot of time between albums to take time a little at a time, working a little bit with Andrew Watt, a little bit over the last several years, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and he turned in a gem. But do I think he has another perfect album in him? I could be surprised again, but I'm thinking not. Who knows? Who knows? I'd like to learn more about the friendship between Lennon and Jagger. They seem to have gotten along really well from what I've seen. Well, there were times when, like everybody else, John put him down too in the Rolling Stone interview. Joe, you used to wear a big mustache. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Once upon a time. I think John is a genius, more so than Paul. I've just noticed John fans tend to not like Paul, but Paul fans like John. Here's what I think. I think that, how do I say this? I'm basically a John guy. I like all four Beatles, and I love Paul McCartney. But I'm beginning to think, and how's this for you? I'm beginning to drink the Kool-Aid and think that Paul is a lot more of a genius than I ever gave him credit for. He's a genius with this new album, for example. But I know I can't agree with you with the thing you say. You've noticed John fans tend to not like Paul, but Paul fans like John. I don't see a lot of modern-day Paul fans loving John, especially if you happen to be out there, especially if you're a millennial or a Gen Zer or whatever the next term is or is going to be. I see a lot of Paul fans that have no use for John because they've drunk all the Kool-Aid and they've heard all the internet shit about him and they blow it out of proportion. They haven't had John here in real time to really get a feel for themselves. So I see it the other way around. What's the last movie you saw in a theater? I might see Obsession tomorrow. I can't remember what the last one was. I mean, damn, I can't remember, man. I feel like I just saw one at the other theater. I saw the John and Yoko concert movie, the one-to-one movie. I don't know if that counts. If we're talking about a regular movie, I got to think about it. Michael. I got it. The Michael Jackson movie. How's that, Michael? Now that's the thing too. I appreciate you saying this. I think both are great. I think John and Paul, when you put them together, they're magic. Of course, John and Paul together, there's nothing like it. I love both Lennon and McCartney. I do. So Paul was touring as he was writing, recording, making Dungeon Lane. Yes, in fact, I heard him say that. I think he said that in an interview. There you go. There's somebody. We love your realness. Well, some people do. That's why you're here. Some people don't. They just want to go play. They just want to go someplace where it's all about everything. They don't want to have to think too hard, or they don't want to have to get down and dirty. Everything is roses for them all the time. That's how I feel. When you criticize Paul, it's because you know how good he can be, and you see a flaw. Nobody's perfect. That's a good way of putting it. And the same thing with John, Hello, Walkman. What's going on with you? There is a Gen Z video reviewing Dungeon Lane, but as they're listening to it, they're scrolling on their mobile phones. I did not see the new Scary movie. I don't know if I'd bother. I hear there's a good horror film out called Back Rooms or something like that. If McCartney waits 6 years to the next album, he'll be around 90 years old. Well, if he's going to do another album, I tend to think it would be pretty quick. Do you always eat and go to bed at the same times through the day and night? Not always, no. Okay, Paul is the teacher's pet. This is interesting. Paul is the teacher's pet, and John is the bright but occasionally disruptive student. I like that. If I can remember that, maybe I'll use that. Perfect. Paul is a teacher's pet that puts an apple on the desk all the time like that, and John can be bright and loving and smart and witty, but occasionally a little disruptive. Human. Oh yeah, I would not see that new movie, The Bride. Never. Okay, bro. Lennon is like Top G, the kid you'd meet up to skip school and play music and smoke one. Paul be like the kid you call up if you want to feel like hanging out with your grandma. I love you, Paul. Don't get me wrong. I see Criterion are releasing Hard Day's Night. Well, they already released a Hard Day's Night. I don't know what that was about. The way John is treated now makes me like him more. That's interesting. And Marcus says that is a perfect analogy, Daniel. Yeah, remind me of that. Paul requests a piano in his hotel room when he tours to write stuff. The man is a genius. He's a melodic genius. He's a songwriting genius, Paul McCartney. And as much as I love John Lennon, I say McCartney's the superior songwriter. But in all fairness, John he's been out for 46 years. Who knows what he could have written in the last 46 years. Okay, hello. And Ringo is the milk monitor. Okay. And George is the lad who causes trouble, then he gets off quick. Yeah, and let's keep it that way, because Paul will try to say, no, I was the rebel. I was the one. You know, you give John something. Leave him something. George bright too, but always a disruptive student or sleeping back of classroom. Coolest Beatle overall, though. All right, folks. Thanks for all these thoughts. A lot of good comments today. I really appreciate it. Oh, where are we at here today? It's Saturday. Boy, Sunday's coming. Wow, time's going so fast. It's going so fast. Okay, other than Band on the Run, Jet and Bluebird, what do you think are three better opening three tracks than As You Lie There, New Horizon, and Days We Left Behind? That's going to be hard to say, because I think As You Lie There, New Horizon, and Days We Left Behind are an amazing three songs. And I think Ripples in a Pond is an amazing fourth song, and I think Mountaintop is an amazing fifth song. I'd have to do some serious thinking about this. But right now, I like them better than I do. Bluebird ruins that. I mean, I like the song Bluebird is okay. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm a bluebird. But still, I do like it. I do like Bluebird. See what I'm getting at? I do like Bluebird, but it's a little twee. I think the first three songs on Dungeon Lane are better than those three are kind of like tarnished by Bluebird a little bit. But I mean, it's a good. It fits well as the third song. If you mean how does it fit the sequencing, it fits good. Paul will be 84 on the 18th. Ringo will be 86 in July. Reality could happen at any time. I've been predicting it. I'm not predicting it. I've been cautioning myself for at least the last 20 years. Are you kidding? I've been like waiting and thinking, oh my God, is today the day? Is today the day? Oh God, for 20 years. Anyway, who would get the most media attention? Oh, Paul, of course. Both of them would, but Paul, of course. The classroom streams. I haven't done a classroom stream in ages. I'm still going up there. I usually take the summer off from being up there. However, I still got to go up there for a little while, although I'm not doing live streams. Nah, songwriting-wise, Lennon, Ray Davies, Dylan, McCartney, Paul West, all these people in that order. Nah, I don't put, here's the thing that's going to shock everybody. I am a Dylan fan, a Bob Dylan fan. I'm a pretty sizable Bob Dylan. I'm a big fan of Dylan. However, I don't think he's a better songwriter than McCartney or Lennon or McCartney. And the reason I say that is because with Bob Dylan, to me, it's all about the words. Now, I like some music by him, but for the most part, when I think Dylan, I think of great stories, great lyrics, great clever twists on phrases and ideas, not music. To me, songwriting starts with the music. Can you write a great tune? Can you write a catchy chorus or riff? That's McCartney and Lennon, not Dylan. People have joked that anybody that says that is you're not a real fan. I like Blackbird better than Bluebird, but I'll tell you that I'm more tired of Blackbird than I am of hearing Bluebird. I like the song Mamunia. It gets a bad rap, but I like it. But it's not one of the best. John and George by far were the coolest. I think Ringo was cool as well. I think Ringo. I never thought Paul was always that. Paul could be cool. All four Beatles could be cool, but Paul, I think, was the least cool. Can anybody say that? And I guess not. I guess not. Anybody Paul fans out there at least say that? And sometimes John, here I'm saying this as a John fan, sometimes John wasn't too cool. Sometimes it was George and Ringo. I wouldn't put John as the most cool Beatle, but I'd put George and Ringo more cool, maybe. I disagree with the comments about John and Paul being a teacher's pet. Well, I'm curious, but I respect your opinions. Well, I'm curious. Can you explain why don't you think he's the teacher's pet? I think it fits perfectly. I think it fits perfectly, but I'm curious as to why you don't, if you don't mind sharing. I think As You Lie There to open and Mama Gets By to end up perfect bookends. I agree, Gary. Great opener and a great closer. Thing is, Paul's music fits the age. The albums and songs fit the times. Yeah. Thoughts on Paul's tour de force, Cree Necrore on McCartney? As good as Ringo? I don't like the song. It's one of my least favorite McCartney songs. When I listen to the McCartney album, I don't shut it off there. I let it play. I accept it. And, that's about all I could say. Early Dylan was a dangerous lyric political machine gun genius. Early Beatles songwriters were sugary and girl-friendly. Well, I'm sorry. Like I said, I would, if I had to pick between the two, I would take the sugary and girl-friendly, happy-go-lucky, bubblegum, la-di-da-di-da, sugar music rather than the political machine gun lyrics. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Dylan as a poet, fantastic. The Beatles as writing music, much better. You see what I'm trying to say? To me, something like Thank You Girl is a much better song musically, than some of the Dylan songs. Well, it's a far stretch to say that I don't like May Pang. I think she basically extends her meaning in John's life more than it was. That's what I believe. John's not here anymore. We only got her to tell us. Okay, that's made the main thing. I wouldn't say I don't like her. I know I come on kind of strong sometime. Like I say, at first she didn't want to date John. She said, no, he's married. Yoko, he's your husband. I want nothing to do with it. And rather than quit her job and keep her class or say move on to something else, she said, okay, I'll do it. And she didn't she didn't live up to her conviction. She dated him, then she wound up going to bed with him, and she always says how good John was with her, but John was drunk all the time. He was doing coke all the time. John was, he wasn't exactly very restrained under her watch, if you will. And he ran rampant with her around, so it wasn't like she was taking the greatest care of him. And she always says how that particular time was when John was doing so much work. She points out, John said it was his lost weekend, But really, he was with Paul and Ringo and Harry Nilsson and David Bowie, and he did all these albums and all this stuff. He played with Elton John. He did all these things. And so therefore, it wasn't a lost weekend. And what I say to her is, May, it's not up for you to decide. It's up to John to decide. John felt he wanted Yoko back. John, while he at times was more laid back and everything, seriously was hurting inside. And the song that says it all you have to do is listen no further than the track off Walls and Bridges called Bless You. Some people say it's over now that we've spread our wings, but we know better, darling. He wanted Yoko back. Bless you wherever you are. Our love will remain now and forever, all this kind of stuff. So you could say whatever you want. May could say whatever she wants. Yoko was his soulmate and true love. There you go. There's a thought. I always respected that you said Hackney Diamonds was your favorite Stones record. That was a Bally take, and you said it right away. I think that's really cool. Oh, thank you. Every Night on the McCartney album is sublime. I would never disagree with that. It is great. It is great. The one pet peeve I have is that if the lack of hype stickers, the George Harrison people had a nice touch with Living in the Material World release. Okay, hype sticker fan. I have no urge to get more. I'm tired of this, People are saying, you have an urge. You're just fighting it. I don't have any urge to get any more colors. I don't. You could believe it or not, okay? Paul and his fans still never got over Lennon getting his name first on Yesterday. I wonder about that, I wonder how I feel about that. Paul sometimes wanting to have his name first on certain songs, like maybe Let It Be or Yesterday. Yeah. Ever gone a day without a Beatles or solo work chat? Well, when you have a chat, yeah, I have. Of course I have. When you have a channel like this, there's a lot of discussion. It's the way it goes. Early Bob Dylan and early Beatles are two completely different animals, impossible to compare. Yeah. Ringo's solo on the end is a genius moment every time I hear it. Ever get hungry but have no idea what you're in the mood to eat? No, when I get hungry, I usually have a craving for something, usually. When was the last time I played sports? I can't remember, but it depends what the sport was, too, The Living in the Material World had that extra sticker exclusive to the George Harrison store on the colored vinyl version. Okay, I gotcha. Hey, bro, John was revolutionary, boundary-pushing, genius mind, heart and ideas, musically on the level of a Beethoven. He wasn't perfect personally, but that's why he's so great. Paul McCartney is like Granny. Well, in all fairness to Paul, come on, not everything Paul does is Granny music, or music like that. What's so great about Paul, I think, is that he does have many, many sides to him. He can write rockers, he can write ballads, he can write sad songs, he can write funny songs, he can write granny songs, he can write old time hit, vaudeville type tunes, 20s tunes. He can do it all, Paul, And these days, I have to tell you, once again, I'm speaking, this is how honest I am. Not only am I honest in my feelings against Paul at times, but I'm honest in my feelings against John at times. John, I've learned more and more. It seemed like he had to swipe a lot of his stuff, unfortunately. It's come to light over the years that John had actually nicked a hell of a lot of songs from other people. And, as much as I love John, and how daring he can be, a lot of his tunes weren't his tunes. And I think Paul had way more diverse abilities and way more of a scope. I mean, I hate to say that because I love John. See, to me, when people ask me who's my favorite Beatle, I always say I love all four Beatles. But if I have to pick a favorite, it's John Lennon, because I'm more interested in John as a human being. John is his personality. I find him much more fascinating, much more interesting, much more real as a person. Musically, Paul would be my favorite. I have to be honest about it. Although when I say that Paul is musically my favorite, I do admire John for taking more risks musically and sometimes doing a lot better lyrics than Paul. So that's the beauty of the two of them in there. I don't believe this. I think John was drunk a lot more in L.A., interesting that John made a good album during the Lost Weekend. Yeah, well, sometimes that's the best way, they say, to make an album is when you're depression sometimes. What Beatle or solo Beatle moment did you think, in your opinion, oh, you messed up there? Well, the first one that comes to mind is when Paul McCartney refused to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction in 1988 because the Beatles were involved in lawsuits and things like that, and he just felt it would be like fake of him to go there and pretend to be so smiley with them when they had the business thing. And I think, and George thought, and Ringo thought, that it would have been cool to just leave it alone. Just leave it alone for that night, for one night. That's the biggest thing. Beatle moments, you could say, "Oh, Magical Mystery Tour was a flop. They screwed up the film." That thing you could say. How is The Boys in Dungeon Lane not on everyone's top 5? I don't know. Isn't it? Paul tried to change the order to McCartney, Lennon, but Yoko and the others vetoed it, which I'm glad. Well, now. What people can argue and say, in the beginning it was McCartney Lennon. It was McCartney Lennon early on, and then John got his way and it went to Lennon McCartney, which sounds better. Maybe because we're used to hearing it for over 60 years. I don't know. But Lennon McCartney sounds a lot better. But anyway, and it's also alphabetically. L comes before M. All right. But the thing is, once it became Lennon McCartney and they became really popular, famous Beatles, then it should have stayed. You don't change Abbott and Costello to Costello and Abbott. Lou Costello wanted to change the name of the comedy team later on to Costello and Abbott. He was a terror, that guy. And stuff like that, or Sullivan and Gilbert, or whatever it is, or Hammerstein and Rogers. You don't do that. In the Lennon Letters book, it mentioned that Cynthia asked for John to return to her during the Lost Weekend. Yeah, that's another thing. There's a little bit of that going on. I've gotten some notes and things, and I forget there's something in Cynthia Lennon's first book that was called A Twist of Lennon, and I can't remember what it was about, with Yoko or something. There was something where she changed her mind later. She changed her story. John was at his most productive creatively during the Lost Weekend. Number 1 album and song for himself. He didn't have a number 1 album. I don't think Walls and Bridges was number 1. Was it? Helped give Bowie his first number 1 single. Well, you keep saying that, but no matter how he was productive, but he said he was miserable. Now, who are you going to believe? May Pang or him? Even the songs. Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right, If I was releasing different variants, I would put different songs on different colors. That would throw a curveball. Yeah, well, they don't think they haven't tried things like that before, because they have. Bowie and John's song Fame was never planned. John just happened to be in the studio and they made it up. There's even some Yoko sound effects in the song. Yeah. Yeah, English Tea is a granny song, but I love it. I love English Tea. And I love that he says in the song, he acknowledges it, because he says, very twee, very me. So I like that he says that, because he's kind of spoofing himself in it. I don't get so-called Beatles fans who don't like McCartney. They are probably the same ones who say you have to pick the Beatles or Stones. Why can't you like them both? I do agree that you can like both the Stones and the Beatles. I do. I like the Stones and the Beatles. They're like apples and oranges. But I don't know I can't imagine that there's really any Beatle fans who don't like McCartney. I mean, really don't like him. I can't imagine that. I know there's some Lennon fans that prefer John, but to not like Paul, I don't know. That would have been a nice touch on the Dungeon Lane releases from the McCartney store, to have a hype sticker such as exclusive to the McCartney store. Wouldn't that have been sweet? Wouldn't that have been nice? I don't know anything about this. Lennon McCartney. Now, when you say that's the most lame opinion ever, I've made a lot of lame opinions if you're talking about me, and some people here you might have thought were lame. So if you can tell me exactly which opinion of mine you think is the lame one, because I don't know, or maybe what someone else said, let us know, and then I'll respond. Lennon McCartney. I hate that Paul tried to switch that for some tracks. What tune are you referring when you said John got inspired by? What are you talking about? I mean, he ripped off a lot of songs. I don't even know where Okay. Paul and John complemented each other perfectly in the Beatles. Their solo stuff is more uneven and self-indulgent, but with plenty of brilliant moments. I agree with this 100%. You know what's funny? Sometimes I say Ringo, and sometimes Ringo's my favorite Beatle. And with Ringo, it's all about the personality. It's all about that thing that Ringo has. Whatever you want to say, the humor, the schmaltz, the coolness, um, the funny jokes. Every time I hear "Woman" from Double Fantasy, I hear part of "Every time you go away, you take a piece of me with you." I don't hear that in Woman personally. Yeah, Lennon is a person you could read 5 biographies of and still be wanting more. Paul has admitted, though, that he nicked a lot of stuff too. Come on, a lot, as much as John. No, let's be honest, a lot, really. I know Paul has admitted it, but I can't. Let's put it this way: with Paul, I can't always decipher it. I can't always tell. Paul has admitted, though, he nicked a lot of stuff too. Listen to All My Loving, and the melody sounds very similar to Dave Brubeck's song called Kathy's Waltz. But yeah, John did steal a lot, but so did Paul, admittedly. Yeah, Macca not going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was petty. Lennon probably convinced Brian Epstein, who was the boss, to put the order of the name. And Hardy and Laurel could be switched, exactly. Maybe the secret code was that would always be Lennon and McCartney. Maybe the secret code was something a little more dicey. Ooh, no. John reunited with Julian during the Lost Weekend, so it wasn't all bad. Well, the thing you got to remember, too, is that there was a problem where, John couldn't go to England either. That's another thing. Oh, I think the thing in Cynthia Lennon's book, A Twist of Lennon, that I heard from somebody. I read a Twist of Lennon, the first book by Cynthia, because she's trying to also make money off it. She was. Anyway, I read it, but I think I read it in the late 70s or something like that, or early 80s. It might have been the early 80s. I don't know when it came out, but whenever it first came out, I read it, paperback. And what somebody was reminding me of was that she didn't want Julian to be anywhere near John and Yoko because of Yoko. She didn't like Yoko like holding his hand and Yoko touching him and stuff like that. So that's very important. That's very important. Okay, so let's not put it all on John. Okay, Walls and Bridges was a #1 album. I didn't even know this. It really was. I didn't even know. I'm a fan. I am. I'm learning today that Walls and Bridges was a #1 album. Wow, I'm not saying he was the happiest. I'm saying he was simply his most. Well, I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand this. And I said that I think he was probably the most creative. And sometimes I even said that at times what happens is, and listen a little bit, when an artist, when he's down and he's depressed, sometimes that's great for creating. Even John has said that too. Sometimes you can get a good song out of it being in this shitty mood. And God knows that a lot of the songs on Walls and Bridges are about him being in a shit mood. Okay, going down on love, scared, nobody loves you when you're down and out. I'm trying to think, Stealing Glass. I mean, a lot of the songs on there are not exactly cheery songs. Define love, Joe. These guys used women, all 4 Beatles did. Are you telling me that's true love? I don't know why you're confronting me with this. I didn't say anything. Yeah, like if you're talking about the John and Yoko thing, if you can't look at John and Yoko and you don't think that that's true love, that John is truly loves her and all this stuff, and if you don't think that was true love, I got nothing to say. It's obvious in the music, it's obvious in their eyes, it's obvious in everything. But some people watch less and know less about the films and videos and interviews and things than others. I'd go along with this. I think the John lost weekend in L.A. was just bad timing. During his Beatle years, John had people to cover up, protect the bad behavior. He was there with other big name rockers, but John was the Beatles something. Yeah, I know, John bad. Paul good, John bad. Yeah, I know. Thank God John was the way he was, man. How else do we get the little balls into the band? Come on. I wonder how genuine country and the wine. What are you talking about here? Ringo going country and Western Stars. I thought you meant the wine cooler, country wine cooler. I wonder how genuine country and Western Stars feel about someone like Ringo going country. I don't care. I think some people are saying that's not really country, but Oh, I was talking about the guy who said Paul was like your granny. That's a BS opinion or whatever you said, something like that. What superpower would I like to have? I like to be invisible for reasons I can't talk about here. Nah, I'm just playing. He ripped off a lot of songs. I don't even know where to begin. Okay? How about Happy Christmas, War is Over? That's Stew Ball. The melody is Stew Ball, for one. How about the beginning of Revolution, the guitar at the beginning of Revolution? That's from a Pee Wee Crayton song called Do Unto Others. Look it up on YouTube. Right now, go over to Pee Wee Crayton, Crayton. Look up Do Unto Others and listen to the beginning. It's Revolution. And I could go on and on and on, okay? And this is coming from a John fan. Okay? In fact, John went so far as to, in 1974, he was on a WNEW radio show with Dennis Elsis, and he brought with him a bunch of 45s to play, where he got all kinds of things from. The Sounds of Day Tripper, I Feel Fine, the beginning of Instant Karma, comes from something else. Come Together, You Can't Catch Me. Funniest thing you've seen on TV recently, reruns of the Hollywood Squares from the 70s. And that's how it goes. The Aspel interview is a great interview. We got George Harrison and Ringo Starr together. Every Beatle fan needs to see this. Look it up. Michael Aspel interview with George Harrison and Ringo together. What do you mean? Well, once Ringo come on, it's off. It's not off. It's great. It picks up when Ringo joins, in my opinion. I said Pee Wee Crayton, the beginning. I'm talking about the beginning of it. The guitar intro. Yeah, people say this all the time. Paul's biggest ripoff is Yesterday. It sounds like Nat King Cole's Answer Me. Yes, the 007 James Bond movies have had their day, and I haven't even seen the last two. No Time to Die and Spectre, those two. I didn't even see those, and I thought they had their day before that. This could be true. There was a nice clip from Paul like 30 years ago saying that he was going to try and convince his son to name a future child Lennon. That way his name would be Lennon McCartney. I don't know how I've lived this many years and not known that Walls and Bridges was a #1 album in the U.S. I have no idea how that happened. But you learn new things every day. I knew the single was #1. That's pretty good. Ballad of John and Yoko, right. They stole from Johnny Burnett's Lonesome Tears in My Eyes. Especially the end. Walls and Bridges went to #1 in the U.S. and #6 in the U.K. Do you think Paul was the least drug user? I'm going to say yes. Paul was the least drug user, but he might have been the biggest pothead. No. I feel like John is a more interesting character, had a darker side than Paul, with all due respect to Paul. Yeah. Please, Mr. Postman, Mean Mr. Mustard, Mr. Moonlight, or Mr. Kite. Out of all those songs, I probably like Mean Mr. Mustard the best. And then Please, Mr. Postman, then Mr. Kite, then Mr. Moonlight. I'll put it to you then, Joe, this way. Your partner says, go with someone else while I pursue somebody, then come back a year later. You would do that in the name of love? You're talking about Yoko's perspective or John? I'll put it to you this way. As strange and odd as that is, think how smart Yoko is for doing that. You know, if you're married to John Lennon, one of the greatest stars of all, and you let him go to Los Angeles by himself, you know he's going to cheat with hundreds of women, and who knows what can happen. But doesn't it make more sense to go with your secretary? I'll call her a secretary. Your secretary, somebody that works for you, to keep an eye on him, watch over him, not let it get too far out of hand. Maybe, one person. Think of it that way. Is it conventional? No. Is it weird? Hell yeah. It's very weird, very strange. Kind of clever though, I think. So again, are we Yoko bashing here, or are we? John didn't have much of a choice, as I understand it. He was thrown out. Oh, thank you for reminding me. That was Gary, great one. John ripped off the song Albatross from Fleetwood Mac. He made it Sun King. I remember listening to Sun King so many times in my life and saying, what a beautiful melody. John, how did you come up with this? It's fantastic. I'll tell you how he came up with it. He swiped it off Albatross. And this is somebody, again, John Lennon fan. And I love the people out there who say you're only criticizing Paul. You never criticize John. There you go. Watch this stream. Bookmark it. Put it down anytime you want to doubt me that I don't also criticize John at times. Interviewers don't say, who are you ripping off? They say, who are you influenced by? The Gong Show, yeah. Holy crap, that is a Pee Wee Creighton ripoff. Exactly, I never knew. That's right. Don't do it. If you want to enjoy the beginning of Revolution, don't listen to the beginning of Pee Wee Creighton. Do unto others. We wouldn't have known about any of these bad behaviors from John that he ripped artists off if John hadn't disclosed it. But again, all artists steal. Well, wait a minute. That's not true. You see what I mean, Marcus? We don't agree all the time. A lot of things John did disclose. I found the Pee Wee Creighton thing from John didn't disclose that. He didn't disclose the Stu Ball ripoff for Happy Christmas War's Over. John didn't tell us that one. I mean, he told us some stuff, but not everything. The quote goes, good artists copy, great artists steal, whatever. I think that George didn't need to steal anything from the Chiffons with My Sweet Lord. And I've always said that I don't think My Sweet Lord sounds that much like He's So Fine, except for those three words, My Sweet Lord, He's So Fine. Those three words sound similar. The rest of it, as it goes on, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know. The rest of it doesn't sound like it. I think it was unconscious. George didn't need to steal. I'll also add that the only reason that people made a big deal of it was because it was a Beatle, right? I think there were a lot of other songs that sound like other songs that nobody ever says because they're not the Beatles. But I think that they wanted to go after a Beatle more. That's what I think. I think there are a lot of other songs that sound like other songs. Darth Vader will never be my favorite movie villain. I can't stand Star Wars. Jaws from The Henchman. Jaws the Henchman from James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me. No, I think people suffer from Yoko derangement syndrome. And what I mean by that is I think that Yoko can't do anything right when you hate somebody that much. The way they cough is wrong. The way they blink is wrong. The way if they say it's a nice day out there, you say no, it's going to rain. If they say it's going to rain, you say, what are you talking about? It's a nice day. So anything she does, she's going to get crucified for. So I don't believe this. And it doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter what you think. Only matters what John thought. And he loved her. And therefore, I'm happy for him that he was happy with her. Having the first Rolling Stones hit being a Lennon-McCartney track was the ultimate power move. Yeah. I like John's, in Mr. Moonlight, I don't hate Mr. Moonlight like everybody else does. But it's not one of my favorites covers by them at all. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it when I hear it, And I think John sings really good on there. We now live in Spain. Every time, without fail, a Beatles song is played. They are very popular over here, and they play unusual songs like "Hope of Deliverance" and "Fine Line." I love "Hope of Deliverance." "Hope of Deliverance" Paul got ripped off. He got robbed of a hit with that. The song "Fine Line" I'm not crazy about. Gary isn't an expert Yoko basher. Well, this is not a Yoko bashing channel. The reason I say that is because there's plenty of places to do that. Not here, But that doesn't mean, don't feel like you can't ever have a negative opinion. I mean, there's people here that said negative things about Yoko, and there's no problem. I'm not blocking them or banning them or anything. But it depends. If people, they get real nasty, they get real ugly, they say, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I listened to Pee Wee Creighton. That does sound like the beginning of Revolution. It sure does. Beatley tone. Can I put you want to come up here or not, man? You're making me want you up here. But it's 2 hours. I got a little time. If you want to come up near the end, just let me know, please. He ripped off "Don't Let Me Down" from Albatross too. John, man. If we can work it, and we can work it out, Macca seems to think that all his ideas are the right thing and all the Jane Ashes are wrong. Yeah. Well, he's saying we can work it out. I don't fault. That's interesting, though. I like that song. Right. Yeah. Yes. Instant karma takes the start. Boom. Boom. Yeah. No, it's Genius is Steel. Genius is Steel. I'm gonna put the link up here in case Tone happens to want to come up. I don't really know how long ago the comment was. Maybe, I don't know. I'll put it here. Just take a chance. Sometimes you can't make it. I can't do it here. I'm trying my best to put it up here, but again, the freaking link ain't working. There it is. Bada boom. Where are we at here? Oh, man. Okay, let's be blunt. What Yoko did in coercing May Pang into being John's mistress would today be called sex trafficking and would be prosecuted as such if May had gone to the authorities. That's interesting. I don't think she said. That's interesting, though, Brian. I'll give you that. But, but today everything's so damn crazy. But the thing is, did she say either go out with my husband or lose your job? Did she have to go that far? I don't think she had to go that far. I think she just suggested it to her and she went with it. I don't know, Where's Taylor Swift these days? Oh, that's a good question. Come on, how many people would know Stu Ball? Well, that's why he did it. I'm sure that's why John did these things, because he figured that these are songs that nobody really would know. Maybe he can get away with it. That's why I think he might have went for songs that were not that popular. But Stu Ball is it's a song that a lot of people did. Isn't it a folk song? What do they call it? It's an old song, like Peter, Paul, and Mary did it. It's a I can't think what the term is, whether it's folk song or it's in popular culture, it's a standard of sorts, And somebody else said, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." For what that's worth, too. John didn't. I remember thinking that was a great line, and that's not John's either, by the way. Yeah, George said he didn't rip off "He's So Fine" for My Sweet Lord, but he was influenced by "Oh Happy Day." Yeah, he said that. Right. Good point. I don't agree. I mean, we have different ears. "My Sweet Lord" and "He's So Fine." I don't know. I mean, what's the part where "He's so fine"? Oh yeah, sooner or later. I hope it's not later. That don't sound anything like the song to me. But we hear things differently. Saw Yoko with Sean in Paris. It was really great. I'm not anti-Yoko. First 3 Star Wars are great. The rest are terrible. Well, if I was going to be forced to watch them again, I'd watch the first 3. I don't think any right-minded person would deny that Yoko only did things to further herself. That was not only in finding a Beatle, any Beatle for that matter, and after John's death. I don't agree with John. So we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. Okay. I mean, what about Linda? Nobody talks about Linda McCartney. Did you know that Linda McCartney was a groupie and she loved rock stars and she was trying to snag a Beatle? Did you know that there was an interview even with Paul and Linda both together at the same time where she said, Paul wasn't even my favorite, and I like John. He goes, yeah, and Paul goes, yeah, she liked John. I like John. Yeah. So, but Paul will do, right? Come on, the last thing I want to do is have to have an even the score and pick on poor Linda, God rest her soul. But, come on, knock it off, will you? You take this to an extreme. You're drinking the Kool-Aid and you believe it. But like I said, not much more is allowed here because I've dealt with it, and this channel is not a Yoko bashing channel. And I said this long ago, and I said it. I felt this way before I started a channel. I would feel like I don't want to engage in that. Hey, there's Beatley Tone coming up. A bad time for that, huh? Beatley Tone, we're getting kind of deep here with this May Pang stuff, but maybe you could lend your, maybe I get a little support. I don't know. Hello, Tone.
Hello, Joe. Twice in a day.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we get back to Dungeon Lane or something. But let's see. So
what's going on? Did I hear Yoko hating going on?
Do you think? And May Pang,
people, have they not grown up yet?
Yeah. We get over it already. How many years is it? I can't even think. It's freaking 60 years ago. Let it go.
Madness.
Yeah. What do you think of the Gibraltar near Spain line causing the song to be banned? I didn't know it was banned in Spain for that line. Did you?
Yes, I think I did. Yeah, the reason because Gibraltar is British, you see, so I think that the Spanish were offended by
the rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah, Gibraltar near Spain. It's it belonged to the UK. Obviously, it's Spanish. I've been there.
Well, there you go.
A lot of monkeys there. And they steal your wallet.
Yeah,
and food, wallet, anything. They
gotta watch it.
They pick your pockets.
Look, Tom, we're kind of color coordinated too a little bit.
We are
a little bit,
and we're wearing different outfits to what we were earlier. I think.
Yeah. I don't want to look like that's all I do is wear the same one all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Let's face it, and it's true, right? They say you can only do so many combinations of the basic 3 chords in rock. So you will hear songs that sound similar to others.
Yeah.
My great-grandkids can't watch A Hard Day's Night simply because it's in black and white. They say it's something from the old days. Thank God. Tell them, thank God it's from the old days. Oh, man. I was talking about this with Andy a little while ago. Do you think there'll be a live Beatle Fest next year? Or is Beatle Fest as it existed done? Well, nobody knows 100% right now, maybe except for Mark Lapidus, maybe the founder of it. He said somewhere he's working on a book and that there will be a fest in next year. But that I never heard anything else since he said that, so I don't know. All right. Were all your Dungeon Lane copies bought from shops, Tony?
No, only one I
Yeah, right.
bought from a shop. The
Yeah.
rest I bought online.
Yeah. Okay, I know. I guess you were asked this at the beginning of the show, but how are you rating Dungeon Lane at this point? Well, what do you want to say?
Highly.
Highly. That's a safe answer.
Yeah.
I actually gave this a lot of thought. It's only how I feel now. You know, I've had albums go up and down over years. Right now, how I feel right now about it, I have it in my top 10 of all-time Paul-related albums, and not too low in the 10. It might maybe around a 7 right now.
Yeah, I haven't really worked it out properly, but like I said on Larry's show, I think it's top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm not kind of sure whereabouts in the top 10 it goes.
Yeah, and I went from I had an 8 out of 10, and now I'm up to a 9 out of 10 for that.
Yeah, I think it's about 9. Yeah.
Never understood plagiarism. Some artists get away with it, some don't. Good publicity for the ones that don't.
Well, people are inspired.
Oh, I wonder if I should talk about this a little with Tone present. I don't know. Why do so many YouTube channel owners, not just you, create thumbnail photos for their videos that show themselves with bizarre, exaggerated expressions? Yeah, you got to do that. Well, because it catches the eye, and that's the reason. I'm having a problem lately with AI thumbnails that are like, you know, they're slightly cartoony looking, but not really. But more importantly, the lettering, like it all has underline, like, and it's got like at the ends of the underline, there's like these frayed edges, like choppy edges, and it's like everybody's using them.
Yeah, I've started using them because I've been doing this 4.5 years, and I'm still really terrible at making thumbnails, like fitting what I want to say on there. So I just use Chat GPT, and what I do is I make a thumbnail, right, and I load it up to Chat GPT and say, "Can you make this better?" And then they come up with something, and it's so much quicker. It's so much quicker because it takes time to make videos. And I'd rather spend the time trying to make the video good. And but all these YouTube channels that kind of give advice of how to do things. They always say, well, you should spend more time on your thumbnail than you should on your actual video, because that's what sells the video. But I hate making them, and and so I've recently kind of taken the easy way out and got them to create something. And I can't say off the bat that it's made any difference to the number of views I get or whatever, but it just saves me time.
Well, yeah, what I've started to notice, and now there's a whole nother topic here, YouTubing and how to, run a channel. But I started noticing some other people. I don't even mean they're not even Beatle people. There's some other guy I know that has like a retirement type channel. All right. And I started watching his channel, and I'm looking to see what videos he's got. And I noticed my eyes instinctively go to the thumbnails. They're not going to the titles. That I always think that the title is important for search reasons and stuff. But my eyes go, I'm scrolling thumbnails, and particularly the words. Like what I mean is, like he had one, I don't know, I can't remember. I don't want to put women down because he tried to, one of them had it would say in big letters, it would say women, women this, or something against women. Women are something. And it's like, oh, what's that? And you look to see what it was, I lost my job, I got banned, why this happened. And that's what catches me, the words and the thumbnails. I'm looking, which one do I want to watch? The titles come later. Yeah. But the one with the women, just so you know, when I started watching his video, he says, by the way, it's not just women, men do it too. He says, I just want to say that at the beginning. So he did that for a clickbait.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So that, it's part of it, man. The baiting people, as long as it's, I believe, my opinion, your content of it is matching the
Yeah,
sentiment.
I don't. I don't like. I don't like thumbnails that appear to be negative to draw people in, but actually the videos are not that negative.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
something like were the Beatles any good, or
I think
were the Beatles actually any good? That's the wording on
yeah,
the
yeah,
thumbnail,
yeah.
and then the person will then tell you why they were really good.
Well, at first, when Back to Boys of Dungeon Lane, at first when Days We Left Behind came out, I thought it was quite good, but I didn't think it was as great as I do now. And people would say, this is worthy of the Beatles. This is like Beatles quality. And I remember I had a picture of Paul from Hey Jude, the Hey Jude promo.
Yeah.
And I said, the letters thing, I said, whatever, new song, is it Beatles worthy? And that got a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And that was an attempt to try to get people, and they did. And now I do think it's Beatles. I think like I compared it earlier today on Larry's stream to yesterday. Like it's like a yesterday for me, or it's could be a classic in the future. I say future.
Yeah, I wish I was good at doing thumbnails, but I'm just not. I'm just not.
Yeah, I just don't know if I'm going to go that route. I know I saw a channel where a guy was teaching you how to do it. He would be like, it would say like, you could type into it and say like, you get your picture, you put it there. It says, okay, now have me standing on a beach with wearing a blue cap, rose-colored glasses. Put the waves behind me. And you write that, and boom, there it is.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to that point. I don't know if I want to do that artificial look yet.
No, I don't. I don't do any of that. I just basically I want them to position the things in the right place and make the writing in the same. Make the writing all fit in, because that's what I struggle. I struggle getting my picture in and whatever it is I'm talking about in, and the words and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite good. It's quite good for that. Sometimes it gives like advice. So if I send my thumbnail and say make this better, they'll say, you're too big in this picture. The album that you're showing is the star of the show, so that should be bigger. And it does things like that. So it's I think it's good advice. The trouble is that sometimes it just looks a little bit too fake for my liking.
Artificial, yeah.
That's
the thing. Even the albums, sometimes it's the album, but it's not either. Now, I like. Here's the thing. I wanted to find a good time to say what I'm going to say. First of all, I have nothing bad to say about Linda. Linda's wonderful, sweetheart. Everybody loves Linda. So, okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I think I agree with you, Gary, but so what? That's the first thing. But I'm going to use this whenever I can. Now, I love Linda's vocals. I loved what she brought to Wings. And I think it's something special. I've always said I like what she did. And I love that White Prairie album. However, I don't think, some fan I am, I don't think I've ever, until the other night, watched all of the first Wings rehearsals footage. I had it on YouTube, and I put it on my big 55-inch screen when she's at the keyboard and she's singing Seaside Woman. She was terrible. She was awful.
Yeah, she grew. She grew.
Yeah, she got better, because in that thing, she was like, you talk about Yoko. Listen to my girlfriend was going out of her mind, because she's a singer, and for her it actually hurts her. Like if I play something and the singing is not good, she's like, please don't play it. I can't. It hurts her ears or something. I'm like, all right, it's not great, but you can't sit through it. So she had to go in the other room. See, hey, Seaside Woman, and she was all off key and she's screaming or whatever And then before that, what song was it? The Mess. He's playing The Mess, and she's like doing the whatever it's called. Help me here. When Mess Summon, she's like repeating things, and she was off. She was all off.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. John did as we told. You know what John said? John said, I almost got it quoted verbatim, but I'm on the spot here because I got a lot of people watching me. But in the Playboy interview, it's on the audio on the Heart Play album, where he says, nobody controls me. The only person who can control me is me, and that's just barely possible. He says, and then he's talking about, nobody ever said anything about Paul having casting a spell over me or me casting a spell over Paul. They didn't think that was abnormal, two guys together or four guys in the early days. Are you kidding me? We spent more time than John and Yoko in the early days, blah, 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 doing this and that, and doing everything together, sleeping in the same bed, in the same truck. Nobody said a damn thing. Oh, maybe they said we were under the spell of George Martin or Brian Epstein, right? It always has to be somebody doing something to you, because we're the one that's cast a spell. And he goes, so all you people thinking that I'm being controlled like a dog on a leash, that's an insult to me. Not that you think less of Yoko, because that's your problem, what you think of Yoko, what I think of for what counts. And he goes, but if you think you know me, he has this tone, or all over me, because I do things with, then screw you. So, fuck you, brother or sister. You don't know what's happening. I'm not here for you.
I mean, anyone that doesn't understand Yoko doesn't understand John. They're
both in a way meant for, they were kind of like, what's that saying?
They
deserve each other.
Yeah, there's so many things that have, that supposedly have come out, stories that have come out that you just think, no, that is bullshit. Like the one that I really love is Yoko got John addicted to heroin. So let's just examine the facts. Yoko is at that stage is a fairly unknown artist. John is a rock star who mixes in the drug circle. Who knows the dealer, John or Yoko? It's nonsense.
And I'm sure John would have got around to it anyway. The guy, he did everything else.
John never did anything that John didn't want to do.
And I've heard Paul even say that about him. Yeah. And the thing is, too, if he was controlled by Yoko, you want to use the word control. Yeah. Some men like that. Some men like the idea of the woman leading the way. You do it, I'll just follow. But I don't think that was John all the time at all, really, with John and Yoko. But if you want to say that, he likes strong women. I like strong women. I personally do. I don't like, being with a woman that's kind of like, very needy. And I like her needy in the sense that I want to be something in her life. I want to be able to help her with something, provide something, forgive her something. But I like her to be strong and whatever.
Yeah. And he wanted an intellectual equal. And I think, Cynthia was a little bit of a wallflower, I think.
Yeah. I mean, she was, quiet, didn't say much, humble.
Yeah.
So I think Paul called her a pipe and slippers kind of wife or something like that once. Like, it's not what John wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Love your latest show, Greedo and Dixon.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Talking about, let's promote it, the Beatle Board.
Yeah.
Well, the Beatle Board trivia show. Check it out over on, it's on Beatley Tone's channel right now. Sometimes it's on Greedo's.
Yeah, we do alternate episodes go on each of our channels. We keep thinking about whether we should just have a channel just for that, but we resisted that.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. To do what you're doing.
Yeah. No, Joe, because you've been on it. These shows are so much fun to make. We just have.
Oh, they are.
We have such a laugh making it. I mean, when we did yours, Joe, you were the first contestant, so it was like an absolute shambles. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But I think we kind of got it a bit off pat now. We kind of know what we're doing. I mean, it's taking a lot less time to make the episodes than it used to. But
it was fun.
It's still fun.
I think Season of Glass is a fine Yoko album, but I'm not going to get the new one, Elliot. But thank you.
No, I bought it when it came out in 1981. Don't need another one. I don't think.
There you go.
Northern Side. Right, the Pretty Green stuff. Yeah, It's a shop UK. It's Liam Gallagher's clothing line. Pretty Green. That's where I get those tops from. I wear a lot of stuff from there.
Annie Lennox of the Eurythmics. Yeah. Excuse me. To be fair, the chord progression from C to A minor makes up a great deal of 50s to early 60s songs. I think you're correct in their targeting of George. Yeah, you know, it's George Harrison. Let's go after him. You know, hello, Beatley Town.
Hello, Gary.
Hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric.
Trading Exercise in Gibraltar and Living Daylights. Well, that's my least favorite. One of my least favorite Bond movies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, John. Fair enough. With Beatlefest now meager offerings, how can they possibly justify the high ticket prices? I think they need a reality check. 2026 is not 1990, right? Yeah, they definitely need a reality check. You put it well, and hopefully, if they continue, which we don't know, I think if they can do it in 27, it's a good year because it's the Summer of Love anniversary and all that, and 67 to 27 and all that. But yeah, they're gonna have to do some work on it.
No, I don't.
How to get moving with the damn volume 2 then? If you know.
I've been to one of his live shows, but I don't know him.
Yeah, really good album. Yes, indeed. Yeah, getting inspired has nothing to do with copying. Okay.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with inspiration. Some of it's copies right now. AI thumbnails are terrible.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's not so much that. It's that everybody seems to be doing it. I don't want to name names out there, but it's all the same looking to me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You know,
with them. But I say it does. You know, everything on YouTube takes a lot of time because making the videos takes time, especially if you're a bit useless at it like me, and I have to keep re-recording bits where I've done it wrong. And I like to answer everyone's comments, and that takes time because I generally get quite a lot of comments on my video. So any bit that I can save time on, and that's the sacrifice that I'm making at the moment. I'm not saying that I'll always do it, but it helps me.
I've noticed, Tone, on some of your videos, and I do it too occasionally. You got that kind of like crossfade thing going on, like you're talking.
Yeah, the edits. Yeah, that's the edit. Yeah.
The thing with me, the way I do it is I still use a camera. I use my phone.
Yeah, so do I. I do as well. Yeah.
And I got this stupid little tripod thingy that I stand it up on here, and I do it right. And what I've always done is I upload. I forget the terms wrong. Upload to YouTube right on my phone, right here on the phone. Right. And usually I got a pretty speedy thing. If I do a 10-minute video, say 15-minute video, it should take no more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Yeah. But sometimes it'll say 3 hours, 4 hours. I'm like, what the hell? Sometimes my Wi-Fi is not right. Or if you do a video that's like today I did when I put up a Ken Michaels thing, I'm going to be on his show. And it was only like 30 seconds or something. It should only be like a minute or two. It should be but when it says like an hour, I'm like, something's wrong here, and I got to unplug it. But I try to get it all done. On one take, and then I could do what I just said. I could just upload it. If not, I have to transfer it, and I don't know how. Because I edit by transferring this with a cord to my computer right here on my laptop screen. Yeah. And then I go into the editor, and I got to move stuff, and I got to like edit on the key. It's more work to edit it for me. So I'd rather not edit it if I can.
I have to edit because I can rarely do it first time.
I'd like to see some more outtakes then.
Yeah, Well, I did once. I did a bloopers video.
Yeah.
I think maybe when I got, so it's right in the early days, when I think I did it when I got 500 subs or something like that, and I said, oh, I'm going to load up this blooper reel, and if you like it, I'll do another one when I get to 1,000. Thinking, oh, everyone's gonna love a bloopers reel, and they're all going to subscribe to get me to 1,000, and I can put another one up. No one watched it.
Yeah, the bloopers reels, I thought more people would like them. I did one recently. I don't know if you saw it. It was a short where I was holding the big booklet of Dungeon Lane, and I was like I bobbled. I made a face and everything, and then So now what I would do is, what I might do now is I might be like, I'll just make something up. I might do, okay, so here we have the CD of the Boys of Dungeon Lane, which came out from Paul and I. I go, okay. And I go, okay. I keep it running. I go, okay. I always go 1, 2, 3. And which came out from Paul McCartney, something like that. I'll continue it. And then I know when I'm editing, it's just easy if I do a 1, 2, 3. That's when I'm going to cut or something like that. I'll chop it, Sometimes the train will go by and I'll say, I'll wait for the train to pass if it's loud enough. Then you got to edit it.
The video I did the other day, I called it the Boys of Bunyan Lane.
Oh, did you?
I had to cut and do it. Yeah. And then when I kept trying to called that bit, I just kept laughing because I called it Bunyan Lane. I couldn't get it right for about 3 goes of it before I could. I mean, how many times have I said the Boys of Dungeon Lane over the last couple of months? Right. And just all of a sudden I couldn't say it. The Boys of Bunyan Lane for some unknown reason.
Nothing wrong using the tools. Do you guys have editing suites? What do you mean? No. I would no. I did it my own. So I never have somebody else handle it.
No,
if that's what you mean.
No, I just got like editing software. I'm a Mac user, so I've got iMovie, and I just load them up to my computer and just edit it in iMovie.
How about all the best 2?
I don't know. He hasn't had that many hits, has he, since the last one?
The worst YouTubers who sensationalize. This is the last time, or it's over. Yeah. Hate clickbait. Hate the game, not the player.
Yeah.
I can't stand thumbnails that are bait and switch. I immediately get off and won't watch them again. Oh boy. Pee Wee Creighton. Yeah, it's depressing. It is. I think. Their hands that come back. Utter fraud. You're talking about people who say they're going to leave. It used to drive me out. There used to be people since I've been here. I mean, I've been here 14 years. They'd always be, and they'd always do it. They'd be like, "Hey, guys, this is it. I'm leaving YouTube. This is my last video." Then they'd come back, and I'd put up with it 3-4 times. And after a while, I was like, but then again, who am I to talk? I've done that a little bit, so don't come back. No, I've done that with my 3rd channel, my lifestyle channel. So there you go. Laurel and Hardy films, a lot of AI images. Yeah, I don't know what it is about them, but I'm not. Yeah, Linda was a groupie. Yeah. Linda sang better than Yoko for sure. I think she sounded better than Yoko, I guess, on the record. But there's songs there's something going around now. I see. I think it's on Facebook. Remember Love. Yoko doing "Remember Love" from the bedroom, and where they did "Give Peace a Chance."
The B-side of "Give Peace a Chance." Yeah,
I'm not saying she's I always say Barbara Streisand or anything, but I mean, she's just going. It's like very soft and cute. I mean,
yeah.
I know. Here I go. Tony's afraid to say. Don't say too much. You might get Yoko. I can't do it. Good thing about Dungeon Lane is there's been so much content on here recently. It's brilliant no matter what.
Yeah.
Hey, it helped pay for my dental work.
Yeah, it's been a lot to talk about, I guess.
Guys have been on fire.
And the thing is that this is the epitome of make hay when the sun shines, really, because because these things don't happen. They don't come along
No.
very often. I mean, I wasn't on YouTube when McCartney 3 came out, so this is really my first Paul studio album that has come out since I've been on YouTube, and I've loved the whole ride right from when it was first announced and all the way through, and talking about the variants and now doing review and everything, and love the album. So it's been good. It's been good.
And the numbers, these are the best numbers I've had. You mentioned McCartney 3 since 2020 with McCartney 3.
You mean like viewers numbers? Yeah,
views and everything else. It's been the best numbers all around. And I'm like, wow, it's not going to stay. It'd be nice if it could always be like that. But and people say you're milking it. You're trying to do all these variants videos and things. I don't have a video for every variant, believe me, but I have a number of them. Like, for example, I was going to make one about McCartney hitting #1 with his new album in the UK, but instead what I decided to do is I'm going to save it for when the US comes in. And I'm just going to make a double, one video for the two. That's all.
What day of the week do they do the Billboard?
I think Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. Used to be Tuesdays here as well, but they changed it to Friday.
Okay, I'll let you. I'll let you do that because he wants to get a rise out of me. I understand, Gary. Yes, indeed. Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yoko should be. She's horrible. What is the weakest Wings album, Tone? Don't say it. Don't say it.
I think it's a top. Well, you know what? I think probably if you talk about technically, it's probably Wildlife, but my least favorite is Back to the Egg. I'd go back. If I was wanting to play one of those two albums, I'd probably choose Wildlife before I chose Back to the Egg. I think. Yeah.
There you go. Oh yeah. Happy June from Canada.
Hi, Armin.
No, the Heart Play album is not worth anything. It's not valuable. I mean, nothing to speak of. I don't know. Maybe if it's sealed, maybe you get $20 or something. I don't. It's not really. Yeah, well, what's interesting about this is, it's funny because John says on How Do You Sleep, jump when your mama tells you anything. He's talking about Linda in that. Well, the thing is, but that also, I always thought that's, it's so much John, really, right? But think that if John didn't feel that about himself, he saw it in Paul, but he didn't see. Maybe he wasn't what we think. Maybe it wasn't as much jumping when Yoko says anything as we think, because it bothered John. He saw it with
yeah. I think some of the things that he says in that song. I mean, I do love the song. It's a great song. But I think some of the things that he says in that he surely doesn't mean, and that they're there for a good rhyme. I think.
Yeah, I would go along with that. Yeah. And also the thing is, though, some of the things like it seem so foolish now. Like the only thing you've done was yesterday, and etc. Right? And of course, I keep thinking at that time, because of the way Paul was not being that well accepted early on with the McCartney album and Ram. It's not that at that point, it's not hard to make that prediction at that time. But I think now it's ridiculous. It's absurd now to listen to.
Yeah. But what about all the even before all that happened, before the Beatles broke up, what about all the other songs? Well, he did.
That's stupid to begin with too, because there's tons of other songs as well. Classics and all.
Fantastic songs that he wrote after Yesterday that are brilliant.
I don't know if she auctioned them or not, but I'll definitely defend the artsiness of it. I think that's brilliant that she put that on the album cover. It's a symbol with the glass of water and the flower on the back cover. Life, death, and then life goes on.
Would we call that the ultimate clickbait these days? If that happened now,
yeah, maybe. I don't know about this. I'll tell you one thing: if she was using all the heroin people say that she's using all the time, it's amazing that she's living to be 93 or whatever she is. I got to say that.
Yeah, why do people think that she was using heroin in 1980s? She had a child to raise on her own.
What is this all about? That was with Mayo, Yoko, and John. They was I'm gonna read that. Like, it was easier if you read it. Fukum. Yeah, yeah. Oy vey. Oh, with the Harrison estate? Are you kidding? I haven't heard anything. What about Dark Horse? Come on.
It's about time they pulled their finger out. The Harrison estate.
Really, man. They're sad. Good evening, or whatever time.
Hi.
I think dinner's ready soon. I hope she can hold it for a half hour or so. Let's see. Oh, that's nice. I got a shout out from the Chris Carter yesterday on the Beatles channel on Sirius XM, and they played your Lennon request. Yes, I talked to Chris Carter. That's all I'll say at the moment. It turns out, and you asked me to make a request, and I said I'm stealing glass, so that's what I did. So there you go. I hope you're doing. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, how you doing this evening? Yes.
Hi, Anthony. Good, thank you.
Just started listening to Power to the People, Disc 1. Fantastic. And for the first time, I'm really enjoying Yoko. Well, that's pretty good. Enjoy if you can. It's better. It's easier if you can enjoy. If you can't, and not everybody can. I get it. Let me tell you, I went to the theater with my girlfriend. She accompanied me to see the John and Yoko movie, the concert. And she didn't want to hear any Yoko. She went nuts. She stood there. The funny thing is, she said, look, I might have to leave if I can't take it. I said, please, babe, try just for one show. And she had popcorn, but she doesn't really, and she was eating the popcorn.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Usually she can't finish it, but she was eating through the whole thing. And I said, I noticed you ate all that popcorn. She said, I had to distract myself somehow. So I was fiendishly going crazy on the popcorn. And I was dying in some of it too. I was like, oh my God. Even I was like,
it's a challenge, isn't it? It is a challenge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I think that it her I always thought that her songs are a performance, and when you see them with the visuals, I think it's much better than just hearing it on a record. So when you see them in that film, I thought, she's just going for it. She's just going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, I could go on this forever. Like, I don't mind, and We're All Water. I don't mind when I have fun with that song. I don't mind. I like the words, actually, the comparisons between people.
Yeah, but at the end, I like as well. Yeah,
she goes a little nuts at the end, which is kind of all right to me in that moment.
Yeah.
But then go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think she's pretty good lyricist when she's writing proper songs. Not talking about things like "Don't Worry, Kyoko," but on those sort of mid-70s albums, Approximate Infinite Universe and Feeling the Space, where she's writing proper songs, Season of Glass and stuff like that. I think she's a pretty good lyricist.
And I think so too, and I've said that, but that's like the kind of thing, like when you hear, I don't know, Cher is going to be an actress, and they're like, oh, Cher can't be an actress. She's sick. Yeah. Well, so Eddie Murphy had a song, "Party All the Time." My girl wants to party all the time. It's like, oh no, people don't want to. Yeah, the next great songwriter could be somebody like Yoko. I mean, she writes good song. She writes good lyrics. I think I do agree with you a lot of times.
I mean, I know she doesn't write her own songs, but Kylie Minogue, started off as an actress in a soap, and then she made a record, and she just became a huge pop star in the late 80s and 90s.
Well, the answer to this question, this is really in my court, believe it or not, and let's just put it this way: I should be more aggressive. That's not the word. That sounds bad. Active than I am, because I pretty much got kind of an invitation a little bit, and it's like I just haven't. And then
Follow it up. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you don't want to nag them and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I don't want to, but I'm afraid if I was joking a little earlier today, but it went over some people's heads, I think. But if I don't, what's going to happen is somebody else will. And then when I finally say, oh, now I'll do it, because I kind of was given like an offer in a way, sort of.
Yeah. Well, why don't you follow it up? Because
because I think because I really want to be prepared. I mean, I really want to make sure I know what I'm talking about, kind of, and I can do that, a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I asked him when I got into a conversation with him, like private messaging on Twitter, and I asked him, and he just said it was around the time of the Mind Games box coming out.
Yeah.
And he just said, I'm not really doing interviews at the moment because I've just done so much for the Mind Games box and the Oscars just before. It was the Oscars just before that in the February. I think the Mind Games came out in June, I think maybe. So he said. But he said, but you seem like a cool guy, so it's not a no forever. So that's what.
Oh yeah, and I got something like that at the beginning, 2020, when I first was conversing with him through messages. He was kind of the same thing. So I get the feeling like sometimes you don't know whether it's like a polite, like no thanks kind of thing, or maybe later or something. I got a kind of maybe thing, but I don't want to say too much here. But when I saw him in person,
It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be a Johnny Come Lately, I think they call it. It's going to be, or a copycat. It's going to look like, because somebody else will get it first because I've just been dragging my ass, and whatever. If that happens, it happens. But anyway,
it was a bit like interviewing Gary von Syatt, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well.
I mean, he had some great stories, but he told the same ones to everyone.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. Yeah, telling the same stories. Yeah. This is a silly question, isn't it? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did. Thank you.
See, now I'm lost with what we would talk. What this is in reference to.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about thumbnails.
Thumbnails thing,
maybe. Beatley.
There you go.
I think it was cheese and Was it cheese and Marmite that he asked for? I think is Marmite a British thing? I think it is.
Yeah, well, marmalade certainly.
No, Marmite. It's like
I think some marmalade.
Yeah, Marmite is it's kind of a yeast extract thing that you just have in sandwiches or on toast or something like that. And we've got this thing like their own ad campaign, Marmite's own ad campaign. Their slogan is "You either love it or you hate it," and that is absolutely true. People that like it absolutely love it, and people that hate it just can't stand it. And it's a really divides people. I don't think so. Do you disagree?
I have some in mind.
Me and Joe.
Yeah, I have a couple in mind. Do you have any in mind?
I can't think.
And I have a new one maybe for after the Andrew Dixon one. But the thing is, don't you dislike Yellow Submarine?
Oh yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I love Yellow Submarine, even though I don't. Yeah. There you go. There's one. Yeah. And I love Not a Second Time and Little Child. So there you go.
Yeah, I like Not a Second Time. I was surprised to hear Andrew nominate that as a was it a song that he thought was overrated? Was it? I think that was the question.
Yeah. Now, first of all, if it's a photograph, I don't see the problem with a photograph of that. If you're talking about the actual glasses, I might say, oh, but you know what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it was the glasses themselves or the photograph. You know what I mean? Go find some love in yourself and stop hating.
Yeah, but was it auctioned? I mean, what?
I don't even know.
Unless it was for a charity thing, because Yoko is one of the richest women in the world.
Oh, she does a lot. The Spirit Foundation. She's charity.
She doesn't need money. She's got more money than she could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. So yeah. How long have you been playing drums? Okay, so well, I started when I was 16, and I bought my first drum kit with my first pay packet that I got, the first monthly pay packet when I was 16. They cost 60 quid, and I played for maybe about 2 years, and then I sold them to go on a lad's holiday, and then I didn't, and that was in 1980, I think. 1979 or 1979, I think. And then I didn't pick it up again until 1993, and I've been playing ever since. So really, it's since then that I've been playing in bands properly and regularly. So 33 years, say.
I like the way you play that chicken song or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There you go, brilliant. Onion. Cool vape.
Thank you.
Let Pee Wee Creighton be relegated to the dustbin of rock. We're talking Beatles here. Well, that's what the John was. So he's probably already relegated to the dustbin when John swiped the guitar and drove off it.
Who's Pee Wee Creighton?
Oh, you got to hear that. You never heard that? Well, I could do it right now, as a matter of fact. Let me do it. I don't think there's going to be a problem with this. There's a song. Pee Wee Creighton had a song called Do Unto Others, and it's on a 78 record on YouTube. There's like a picture of a 78 record. It's hard to do this when people are watching, so give me a second, folks. All right, here we go. And you might recognize a little of this. Here it comes. All right. Here's the beginning of the record. There's a commercial first. After the commercial.
Cool series.
Here we go.
I'm not really hearing it. It's breaking up. I couldn't really hear it.
Oh shit! Nobody heard that?
No, it was sort of breaking up.
Okay, well you have to play it. Pee Wee Creighton, Do Unto Others. It's Revolution. It's a guitar at the beginning of Revolution. Right outfit.
Okay.
Hey, there you go. There you go. I think Yoko sings better than Linda. Whatever. It doesn't. Come on, man. I thought Yoko was the best thing about the Live in New York movie concert, art, music. She was brilliant. All subjective, but great. There you go. There's a Pet Sounds or Dungeon Lane for you.
Okay, so I had this discussion with Paul. Not this exact discussion, but he was talking about Paul from Dinner with Greedo. This was only the other day. He said he thought Good Vibrations was better than anything the Beatles ever did. Do I agree? And I didn't. Now, Pet Sounds, I like the album. I do like the album, but I think it's overrated. I do think it's overrated, but it's. I like most of the songs on it better than Dungeon Lane. Well, not for me, but I know it will be for a lot. I mean, that would seem ridiculous. It's a classic album, but it's just not something that I absolutely love and play a lot these days. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, I've heard this is true because John said it in an interview when he said Klein gave me another day. We were just laughing in this. So that line, that's since you're gone, you've gone, you're just another day. That's Alan Klein helped him with that. And I think it's a brilliant line, really.
So I've got a question for Gary. Is it true that you're Jasmine's nephew? Jasmine, as you lie here, lie there, Jasmine. Is that true? I think I heard that on Andrew's live stream the other night.
Let's find out. Tell Joe to listen to Exile on Main Street. You said you're not a Stones guy. First listen, somebody else told me I won't like it too. That knows me, so that's why I've never played it.
I love all the Stones albums from the 70s, even the ones that most people don't like It's Only Rock and Roll and stuff like that. I love all their 70s stuff. Exile is a great album, but I prefer Sticky Fingers and I prefer Some Girls.
And with me, you honestly don't know. You never know what I'm going to say. I would think. You think Mayo would rather Dungeon Lane reach number 1 in the U.S. or the U.K. if he had to choose only one?
I don't know.
You know,
probably the US, because the US is a much bigger market than the UK. So, from a point of earning, it's probably better to have a US number 1. Although this thing that I did this research thing the other day on, how the charts, the Billboard charts and the UK charts are calculated these days, and the US charts are much more reliant on streaming for the chart position. That obviously there's more people in America than there is in the UK, but per capita in Britain we sell more physical copies than in the US, not in actual numbers, but if you pro rata the number of people in the UK against the number of people in America. More people stream music in America than they do here, and here more people buy physical media here than in America.
I don't know why I think Mayo would rather have it in the U.S., but I know one thing: if there can only be one, somehow this album I think is far more appropriate to be number 1 in the U.K.
Yeah.
Because
Now and Then didn't get to number 1 in the US, did it?
Which one?
Now and Then.
Yes. Well, was it England?
It got to number 1 here, but did it get to?
I don't know. Don't ask me, because you know why? I just got screwed up. People are telling me Walls and Bridges was number 1. I never knew it till today.
Okay.
In the U.S., so I don't remember. All I know is Now and Then was the number 1. I don't remember where. Yeah. Sorry, but I think an artist challenges us. Surely that's brilliant. Why have the same thing over and over again? It's a way of proving we aren't dumb. Yeah. Are you the one that engaged me with this dumb conversation over and over and over again? I don't care what you say, regardless of it. John changes his mind all the time. John definitely liked Yoko performing with him. And liked her singing. And think about, supposedly don't join in with don't do that on my songs or something. I don't buy it. buy it. So, I know who you are. But if you're going to keep persisting, you're not going to be long here. Like I said, I'll take it for a time, but we're not going to keep bashing Yoko here. Well, I'm not trying to be contrary, but Yoko, here we go, ruined both the Double Fantasy and Milk and Honey for me. No matter what anyone says, those albums would have been better with just John's songs. Well, I'm going to engage in that. First of all, it's called Double Fantasy. It's about a heart play. It's called a heart play. It's about a dialogue between a husband and wife relationship after all these years. That's the idea. The second thing is, I was 18 when the album came out, and I'm a rabid John Lennon fan. And I hadn't had the pleasure of buying a new John Lennon album when it was new, and then I did Double Fantasy. I bought the album, and I thought, John, because I wasn't older, I wasn't 40 or anything. I was 18. I thought, little weak for John, but Yoko, man, she's impressive. Pretty impressive with some of these songs, like sounded more modern. Give Me Something, Kiss, Kiss, Kiss. I was more impressed with Yoko's music, and so too, from what I recall, were a lot of the reviews. They were like, "Hey, Yoko's pretty good here,"
Yeah.
So I disagree with you on this, but of course, it's all opinion.
Yeah, I was 19, and it was the first John Lennon album I was able to buy, as it came out. All the rest I bought retrospectively, and when I heard that he was making, or this album was coming out, and it was going to be 7 John songs and 7 Yoko songs, I felt a little bit shortchanged. I've waited like 4 years for this to come out, and that's not much reward for that amount of time. But I thought Yoko's songs, particularly the ones on side 1, were brilliant. Kiss, 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 Give Me Something. The other one.
I like I'm Moving On.
I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Yeah, that's the best
That
one.
is my.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say that's my favorite track on the whole damn album. Believe it
Yeah.
or not, because I love that moment, and I always love that I had the privilege of sharing a story with you. Because I've told this before, but before I'd heard the whole album, I remember I was home and I had my stereo set on the radio and everything. And I turned on the FM radio, and I heard "I'm Losing You," but I didn't know what it was. It was near the end of the song, and he was saying, "I know I hurt you then, but hell, that was way back when. Do you still have to carry that cross?" And I'm going, "Hey, that's Lennon. I guess must be a new song." And then he's like, "I'm losing you," and all this, and I loved it. And then it starts doing that weird thing. The wires across, and Yoko, and his song's not over. Well, it's two different songs.
Yeah.
But at the time, I'm thinking, "What's this?" And and then Yoko comes in, telling John off, "Save your sweet talk for when you score. I want the truth and nothing more." I'm like, "This is great! What a great combination!" It sounded so modern, so now. I loved it. Okay, so.
Yeah, I always thought that she kind of learned more from new wave artists that had, recently come out than John had, really. I think that very, very modern. I think the songs on side two not quite as good. And I do really like Every Man Had a Woman has a woman. That's a great song, I think. And I've kind of got more into Beautiful Boys, but I'm not mad about I'm Your Angel.
I'm Your Angel might be my least favorite. I like Beautiful Boys. It has a haunting feel to it. I like the whole vibe of it, really. Now this thing here, were they planning on keeping Brian as their manager beyond 67? Then it says the Beatles did not plan to renew their contract with Epstein after it expired, but I thought they had a contract to 76, didn't they?
They had signed a contract. That was with the label, though, wasn't it? They re-signed to
Capital, EMI
in 76.
Oh, Epstein, the actual Epstein contract.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard that, but obviously, he was feeling like that he wasn't any use to them anymore because they'd stopped touring.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Tourist ride wasn't really asked about the Beatles until John's death.
Yeah, and even then, I remember going to Liverpool for the very first time in 1981. I went up to see the play Lennon with Mark McGann in it, and that was my first time going to Liverpool. And there's nothing there really. Even the Cavern Club hadn't reopened yet, but they still had the sign hanging down in the street. But Matthew Street was nothing, and now it is just wall to wall Beatles now.
Yeah. So I hear. I love Yellow Submarine, Not a Second Time. Little Child, man, it's okay. And I love Hold Me Tight too. But Andrew Dixon, man, he with the Beatles is my favorite Beatles album sometimes. Yeah. So
we like what we like, don't we?
Yeah, no, it's all different.
It's all different. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the Beatles song you like the least?
Am I allowed to include covers?
Let's start with a cover. Go ahead.
Okay, probably Dizzy Miss Lizzie is one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not mad on Devil in Her Heart either.
How about non-covers and not the usual suspects that are like You Know My Name, Revolution 9, Wild Honey Pie, Her Majesty, Dig It.
Okay. So obviously Yellow Submarine is one of them. I feel like I'm on the spot now. But I like things that a lot of people don't like Maxwell Silver Hammer. I like. I like Oh Bloody Oh Bloody. Let me think. I'm not mad about You Like Me Too Much.
Mm.
the Help album.
Yeah, I like it, but I see why it's not one of their
Yeah,
biggest.
it's okay. I never skip anything. Beatles.
No, I don't do that. I never.
If I'm playing a record, I never skip anything. Oh,
I'm not an Elvis Costello fan, but I do like Pump It Up. I like Girls Talk.
I am. I'm going to see him actually later this month. In fact, not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. I'm going to see him at the Albert Hall. Favorite Elvis Costello song? Don't know. Watching it.
Yep, you froze a little bit there, Tone. You kind of froze. Okay, you were frozen for a minute there when you said something. What did you say?
Oh, I did. I said Watching the Detectives is one. It is one of them. Alison is a brilliant song. Pills and Soap I really like as well. There's lots. I've got pretty much all of Elvis's albums. From the 70s and 80s. Most of his albums and some beyond that.
Not stealing an entire song, no, but I still think one of the introduction is a pretty big deal of that song, and it bothers me to think that it's not something he thought up. Okay, I'm just gonna put a few more thoughts here. But some of these are old. Yeah, I like Tumbling Dice. Yeah,
good song.
Yeah, see, that's not right. I expect Exile on Main Street to be really heavy, but I don't know.
It's not really. There
you go. So I might like it. What is Corey at the record store now? He says, "Yep." Yeah, well, that's the one thing, that Lennon box. There was a CD box just called Lennon. I think it was 1990 for his 50th birthday. They have a CD that just has the John songs from Milk and Honey and Double Fantasy with Every Man Has a Woman, the John version.
The Lennon box, is it? The Lennon box. Yeah. It's funny because the Yoko songs on Milk and Honey are nowhere near as good, but they're a really odd inclusion because they were recorded after John died, with a completely different band. So not the Double Fantasy Sessions band, different band, which I thought was a weird thing to do. But I guess there wasn't enough John songs to flesh out, an album.
Well, I know they wanted to continue the next one together. I thought they were talking about it being the same, but all right. So Now and Then got to 7 in the U.S.
Okay.
Hello, Tony. Oh, this is easy.
Hi, Tony.
This is easy for me. Well, I'm gonna go with Driving Rain, I guess. For me,
I'd probably go with Kisses on the Bottom. For me.
All right, I'll go with Kisses too if we're not talking about original material.
Yeah, if we're talking about original material, then I would have to go. Oh, I don't know. It's somewhere between Driving Rain and Egypt Station, I think, for me.
No, well, I don't know if you say only joking, ha. I think a lot of times things like that are based in reality, like it's really what you're thinking. But okay, whatever. A lot of people had a serious problem back in 1980. Then I guess apparently a lot of critics and people. But I do think that now I feel totally different. I think it's a brilliant album now. John's songs are amazing on Double Fantasy, except for Dear Yoko. I don't like that song.
Yeah, I think that's the weakest, isn't it?
Yeah, for me. Yeah, and I like Cleanup Time, but it's not one of my favorites on there either. Yeah, I'm going to be going on 3 hours in a couple of minutes. Joe, being in the U.S., if you were around in your teens and the followers say after the Bigger Than Jesus quote, would you have gone off them? I have no idea. I can't say. I mean, these days, if you say Jesus is great, they're going to burn your records. It's a whole different thing. We're so back. Everything's ass backwards today, in my opinion. There's a little unasked for commentary. But anyway, here it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh yeah, Mr. Moonlight. Yeah, but John's vocal on that is so good. It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. John is so good in it. Paul's. You foresee a time when Paul's making me. Paul, you never know, man. It could be. I don't know. I hope this is the last one. I really do, but because it's so good. But we got to start going here, folks. It's going to be 3 hours.
Russell, I haven't seen you for a while.
What's that? Why am I thinking? What does that mean?
Top of the Pops films inserts currently being has located the original elements of the two Top of the Pops films inserts. No, I don't know. Don't know anything about that.
This is what I always say.
Yeah, there is only one Elvis Costello.
Okay, they'll always ask the question when people do this. Driving Rain isn't that bad. Okay, Smarty, then what do you pick for the released album?
Yeah, did say the 20th century, so there's not that many to choose from. So, of course, I'll probably be seeing him on Wednesday at the Roundhouse. Why'd you ask?
Well, see, this is silly to me anyway. So in 1980, people didn't like John singing about domesticity, yet Paul was singing about domestic life since his solo career began. Oh, I thought it was right. I thought it was the other way around. People said, I'm all mixed up here. I thought it was the other way around, that people were saying people pick on Paul for singing like that. Now John does it, and they don't like. It's just he's only where he was at the time. Yeah. Did you guys fawn over Egypt Station? Not me. I mean,
no, not me. I'm still not a big fan of it.
Yeah. Oh man, best Paul haircut.
The mullet.
I like mullets. I'm sorry, but I don't really know. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I think he says
the worst one is a little boy haircut. Like that Waterfalls haircut. That's
yeah. His hair, I mean, he's got so much hair now. How has a man of his age still got so much hair?
I think he's doing weaves, but whatever, it's okay. I don't know. I like this hair in Get Back time.
Yeah.
Jasmine's dad and my grandfather were. I can't read that. Brothers so distant.
We're brothers so distant.
Brothers so distant aunt.
Okay.
Well, the problem is my girlfriend is cooking dinner, and it's usually done by 7, and now it's 7:30. So I'm wondering if it's like, and I'll go in and she'll say, it'll be ready by 8 o'clock. And I'm like, well, I mean, I could have stayed.
How do you know when it's ready? Does she text you?
Well, no, not really. Sometimes she holds it. Let me ask her where she's at, though. Just give me a moment or two.
Okay. Do 3 more hours. I've just seen Russell's comment, BBC negative of Beatles filming their debut appearance on Top of the Pops. The footage captures the band miming to Can't Buy Me Love, and you can't do that at the television theatre. No, I didn't know about that.
All right. She hasn't started cooking anything yet because she didn't know how long.
We're on for a bit now.
So I'm like, all righty. So I told her like 8:15 that I'll be back 45 more minutes at most. But when I have a chance for Tone to be up, I like to have him on. So,
Thank you.
I don't know what I missed here. You might have been talking about something.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So I might be going to that chicken shop on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I said I'm going to see Paul at the Roundhouse. He's doing a conversation thing about Dungeon Lane. Well, Dino, who Tony just asked about, he's going as well, and he texted me and said that there's a fan meetup at the chicken shop, which is about about 10 minutes from where the Roundhouse is in London. So might go down there if it's after the show rather than before, because I think before the show we need to get in a queue.
Well, remember, you got to get a question ready in case you have a chance to ask Paul something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I know a bloke who is a distant relative of Jasmine, and if you want to meet up with her, I can put you in touch.
There you go. Now this here, I was wondering about this. Now I'm wondering about this because when it says "Borrowed Time," the song was about John who knew had a premonition he was going to go. I always thought it meant that's his way, like he's 40 years old and he appreciates life now. Good to be older. Good to be older.
Possibly know. How could he possibly know?
I don't think that's what the song's about. I mean, unless you heard something I don't know, or he said something that I don't know. I thought it was just like life begins at 40, and make the most out of everything. Don't care to worry about tomorrow. Just enjoy today, the kind of thing.
He might be talking about his career more than anything. Maybe, how am I still making records at 40? So this is what Russell meant before.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know about this.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry, I'm skipping some things. He looked good with a beard, McCartney, in '69, but bad with a mustache in '67. I'm happy for any time he does a different look. Has any kind of facial hair, anything unusual. Although I gotta say now sometimes he looks pretty scraggly when he has the beard.
He doesn't look great with a beard now, I don't think. Grey beards don't look good. That's why I shaved mine off.
Yeah.
I don't know, but for this gig that I'm going to next week, he won't be doing Veronica because he's only doing songs from the albums My Aim Is True to Blood and Chocolate, so from 77 to 86, which is great because that's the period that I like best.
Yeah, right, Tom?
Yes, that's right, Tony.
Now, good night, Kenny.
Only sleeping, he's going to sleep.
Was Melbourne '64 the best Beatles concert? Oh, I don't know. Is there such a thing anymore? I mean, is there such a thing? I don't know. Paris '65. Of what we see and hear. I don't know. Hollywood Bowl, because they knew they were being recorded, even though the sound wasn't good at the time. They intended making an album of it. Time.
That's the trouble. Everyone wants a live box set or whatever, but we don't know what they've got and if it's any good. If the performances were any good. My upside down.
There you go.
He needs to sign a few of my albums too. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I got to save my voice a little bit. Paul comes across as a nice fellow in interviews, but you also know he knows how to play the game to come across as a nice fellow. Turn on the camera, he switches on. Well, I've seen examples of that in person a couple of times. But the thing is, I give him a lot of credit, though, because he's been doing this many decades, and he knows how, to put people at ease and to be nice with people. And
he does. I've seen him do that in the flesh when I met him. He did that. He was doing a signing, and this, we were watching the people approaching the table, and then this was in 2005, and there was this woman. She must have been maybe in her 60s then, so probably like a first generation fan, and she just got in front of his table, and before she had a chance to do anything, she just burst into tears. She was just totally overcome, and Paul just reached into his pocket, his actual Paul McCartney trouser pocket, pulled out a handkerchief and just gave it to her and just said, just calm down, it's okay. He just knows how to deal with things.
He knows the deal. He knows that people are a little.
He puts them at their ease.
So he's very good at that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about him.
Okay.
Beatles YouTuber has never heard the Jam record of All Things Must Pass. I couldn't believe it was true.
Who's that? Who's that then? I have to say, I've only played it about twice.
Yeah. All this Dungeon Lane hype is leaving the archive collection of Back to the Egg in London Town more in the dark. Will we get any more Paul releases this year? Well, I'd rather have a new album. Now that I know it's good, a new album too. Yeah. I'd rather have a new album rather than if we had to pick out of those archives. But is there anything planned except possibly the half-speed master of Wings at the Speed of Sound? Is there anything?
That's got to be happening. I would have thought if they're going to keep this series going, that must be in the offing. I would have thought.
Because there's nothing else, right, that we know of, or am I wrong? Coming up, we have enough. We have Man on the Run. We had we have the new album.
I'm still hopeful though that they will do this Back to the Egg in London Town box.
There you go. You see. These are those questions I have a hard time with. It's my long-winded speech because I think he would have. He would have.
Yeah, of course he would. He would. Yeah.
But the thing,
if the others are doing it, he would have done it. Of course.
The thing is, you can only go by how somebody was at the point they passed away. Yeah, as I say, if Ringo had passed away when he was 40, 41. And you said, you think Ringo would want to do any would want to tour? No, Ringo never, because he never was going to tour, And he did, but we don't know that. And you think Ringo's, because he used to go on talk shows, Ringo, and he used to be putting down the Beatles. Like, come on, let's talk about Caveman. This Beatles stuff is 20 years ago. Oops, enough. And he used to get pretty defiant about it. Now, if he had passed away then, you think Ringo would ever be wanting to talk about the Beatles if he was around in 2026? No, not Ringo, never. You can't tell. You don't know had they lived.
Yeah,
what they would have thought.
No. And especially with John, because it just depends on what day of the week it is and what
right. That too. He has a different right.
You think about the interviews that he did. When he did the Andy Peebles interview, he was in a really, really good mood. But when he did the Playboy interview, which I think might have been, was it a few days before?
I think that was September, I think. And
that was quite a while before.
And I think December 6th is the Andy Peebles.
Yeah, it was December 6th. But, he was in a really great mood. But when he did the Playboy interview, he was in quite a bad mood, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Very complimentary. He said he wanted to re-record all his Beatles songs.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, right, true. Yeah, he was definitely more, Andy Peebles, he was definitely more into his old music and more Beatles excited, talking about Saturday Club and all those things, talking about the BBC tracks. It was, Andy Peebles. But I think the Playboy interviews were over a period of time, wasn't it? Like days? It wasn't like, I don't think it was all in one session. I don't think. I'm trying to remember from the book, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. The thing I disagree most about those contemporary reviews of Double Fantasies, they were wanting and expecting hard-edged John. It's like they didn't want John to change and be softer. Well, that's true.
Or grow up.
Or grow up. But that's how, I was 18, I expected a little harder stuff from John, I guess, It's easy now to say this, but at the time it was like a little disappointing. But I remember loving Watching the Wheels right away. I liked that song when I first heard the album. That was the song I liked the best, I think. If I remember my first feelings. A light beard gives you older guys a youthful appearance. Well, look at this. I have to really get rid. I really should get rid of this. It's not looking too good tonight, especially. I don't know what's going on.
When I shaved mine off, and I had my beard and moustache since COVID. That's when I grew it, and I shaved it off. No one noticed.
Oh, I think
It was.
I don't know.
It was obviously the worst beard ever.
I don't like myself without some kind of facial hair. I just don't. Let's see. There we go. A little Liverpool stuff. Okay, very cool. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, Jimmy, I'm not a Jimmy Nickel fan. Sorry. He gets into it heavy. I know that, but he really milks the moment. But
yeah, but then look at Ringo at the Washington Coliseum. He was really going for it as well. Then Ringo's
well, I've said, yeah, right, exactly. In Washington, yeah, fantastic. Well, again, when we get into this stuff, some people got a real problem with anybody who dyes their hair. And it's like some people, I'm not saying you do, but again, you reminded me of other people who do. And it's like, what looks good for you? If it looks good for you, do it. If you look like a fool, don't do it. I think Ringo pulls it off amazingly. At times, other times, maybe not. But everybody knows he's gray. He knows he's gray. He's white. His hair was white, and God knows when. He always had a gray streak of hair from when he was a teenager. For God's sake, I mean, but. If you look at Paul was looking ridiculous. See, Paul couldn't do it anymore. He would look ridiculous with dark hair, I think, and I think most people agree. It's how your face is, my opinion. What is this? Paul did say there's a private. Oh yeah, private Paul. You mean a public Paul, right? Private and public.
I would imagine that's the same probably for every celebrity, right?
Yeah. Well, I wonder about that. Yeah, Paul really does a good job with that. Put the two in their place. All right. So, do you want a deluxe Dungeon Lane, or would you rather have the songs for a follow-up album? That's an interesting question. Actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Without hearing the songs, I don't know.
Hear the songs first.
Because if they've been purposefully put aside because they just had too much really great material, then I reckon another album, a follow-up album. If they're kind of sort of second rate, then they probably need to be on a deluxe thing. If they're I don't mean second rate. I mean if they consider them to be not good enough to put on this album, then we don't want them put on a completely new album. We'll have them as a deluxe album, I think.
I knew a literary agent, we'll give his name, and he worked with Linda on a cookbook. He never had a good word to say about Paul. Just saying. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I knew a guy used to come into my record store, and he was saying that he had something to do with the Wings tours, or Entourage, something to do with the Entourage, or not the direct group that went with the McCartneys, but he somehow worked on the gigs or something. And he said he would hear Paul only verbally, so to abuse Linda, to get mad at Linda and stuff. Who the hell knows? We're behind closed doors or whatever, If is that true, don't know.
Yeah, but who likes agents?
That's another thing.
It's always two sides.
Oh, okay. Who knows? Might be next year.
I think it'll be this year, but we'll see.
We most certainly do need remixes of the early Beatles albums, in my opinion. For one thing, I want Ringo's drums to be a little more discernible on the early tracks, and the stereo ones. I want the voices to be more centered.
Yeah, I mean the monos are great, but who wants to listen to mono in 2026?
That's another thing.
If it was such a great format, they wouldn't have scrapped it, would they? stereo is how we listen to music these days, and the Beatles stereo albums as they were mixed in the 60s are poor, and so we definitely need them remixed and mixed properly so we can hear them without music on one side and singing.
Yes, center. I mean, fix it. But make it a full sound. Well, I liked a lot of what. I'm not a big Giles Martin guy, but I like a lot of what was done on the Red album when he fixed it. So
yeah. I think it'll be good. It'll give us a real, a real different way of listening to them when we've got the vocals and the drums in the middle, and the rest split and be even better.
I guess this is the time where I got to drag out my story and make it as brief as I can. You say, I guess for every good story of Paul, you'll get a bad one. The hanky for the old dear is cute, but the expletives for workmen eating sandwiches on their break in a work van is a classic.
What's that? I don't know what that
is. I don't know.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. But, in my story, I tell this.
Sorry, I was just going to say, but what I'm saying is, the hanky for the old dear is definitely true because I saw it happen with.
Yeah, you saw it happen.
I don't know where this story comes from, and if you didn't see it with your own eyes, it may not have even happened. And
I'll tell you one that I've told before that I saw with my own eyes in June of 1995. I can't believe how long ago that is. Where I knew a girl at the time who knew another girl who was one of the biggest. Excuse me. Paul fans for decades. He had his itinerary down and everything. So she knew this big Paul fan. So she said, you want to join us? Paul's going to be appearing. We knew the hotel in New York City that he was going to be at. And they know the flights. They know all. She knows all this stuff. This girl has a book of pictures with Paul next to him through the 70s, the 80s. This is 95. And I know I've told this story before, but not everybody's heard it. So I go down there with, I brought the Ram album with me. I know I had and the McCartney 2 album. I would have been happy to get just either one of them signed, hopefully. And when we got there, it was like such a picture perfect, warm, sunny day at the hotel. And right away, the manager of the hotel comes out and says, listen, Paul's called. He doesn't want to see any fans here. He's in a real pissy mood. If he sees anybody here, he says he's not going to stay here again. So you understand, if you go near him, I'll physically stop you. And this guy was a small guy, and he's smaller than me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So we, being the two girls, said we'll just stand across the street. He doesn't own the street, so we'll stand across. And it was a small street. It wasn't a big city block. It was a side narrow one, a little one. So anyway, it didn't take long. The timing was pretty good that this other fan had. So here comes the limousine. Linda's on our side. The windows are open. Linda's on our side. Paul's on the far side. Right away, the girl, the big fan, goes up to him. He recognizes her right away. Been talking to her for years. Says, you're not supposed to be here, honey. You're not supposed to be here. And she says, I just want to give you a gift. I said, I don't want your gift because you're not supposed to be here. So he said, well, just let me give it to Linda then. And Linda took it. And it was, nice Linda. She's like, oh, thank you. Paul grabbed it, flung it out the window. The girl bent down to pick it up, and I was devastated. And that's really what it is. So he wasn't happy seeing fans there at this particular event. And I saw it with my own eyes. This is before I had a YouTube channel. This is before, I mean, nothing to prove here. And then it was, he went into the hotel, and John Hamill came out, who used to work for him. Yeah. And I was still there, and he said, do you understand this is it's not going to happen. This is a private thing. You understand? It's not a public. I said, sure. I understand. No problem. And he says, well, if you want, give me your name and address, and I'll have something autographed sent to your house. So I never got it, but okay. And that's the story. There's a little more to the story after I was going home after that, and nobody believes I met Mitch Weissman at Beatlemania on the way back to the Long Island Railroad, but I did. And I laughed, and I should have had him sign the album, and I didn't, because it would have been quite a story. Now, that's a horrible nightmare to see that. And now that's December of 95. I'm sorry, June of 95, but I heard that in December of that year that Linda was diagnosed with her illness. So I think, I mean, there's no way of knowing. They could have been in town privately. This was not a public thing. This is private business. I think they might have been in for the treatments and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, because he was not in a good mood. But I'm saying, I spotted it. I've seen it. You heard about him throwing Ringo out of the house. You've seen him into the farm that time with that. What is it? In Scotland, is it when he yelled at the guy?
Oh yeah, the guy that from
does that.
Time magazine. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you don't want to witness that. As a fan, you don't want to see something like that. Let me tell you, but that hasn't affected anything for me. Sometimes people think, "Oh, you got a problem with Paul because of that." Whatever I felt about Paul has not changed, and I felt the same way before that incident as I do now. It made no difference. He was having a bad day. It just a damn shame, because there were three of us, man, and nobody knew he was there. It would have been the perfect opportunity, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, you just don't know what else is going on.
No,
with him at that particular time,
And it's also New York.
We had the whole thing with Ringo. He's not signing any more autographs anymore. All this sort of thing. So, something has prompted that outburst. And I never got to meet John Lennon. But it would have absolutely broke my, because how John is, if it's
not really, yes and no, yeah, John,
we kind of know that he's sort of, he's very changeable, and it depends.
He's very changeable, but do you know how many great encounters I've heard, and how many pictures are easily available on Facebook of people?
Yeah, maybe, but you would hate it if because John's always been my favorite, and real sort of hero worship. When he was alive, I was in my teens, so real hero worship at that time. If I'd ever met him and he was horrible to me and said "fuck off," whatever, I would have been heartbroken.
No, I know. Me too, because it was like ridiculous. It was ridiculous then, like you said, hero worship. But that's how I was then. Teenager. I was like, it was ridiculous. Now I think there's other people to worship more than John Lennon. I mean, to look up to more than John Lennon in that way. But I know what you mean. But it could go either way. I've heard from people that had good experiences and some that didn't.
Yeah,
depending on his mood. Yeah. Thank you, because I do dye my hair. Absolutely, I do. I've been doing it since the first video. So if you even look at the earliest videos I do, I don't hide anything. If I was trying to hide it, what I would do is I would never appear on camera unless it always looked the same. And you can easily see in my videos that sometimes it's getting lighter and lighter. No problem. Yeah. It's all a personal grooming thing. You decide how you like it. That's all. See, but anyway, probably missing a lot of stuff.
I'm excited to see the next question.
Which one? Oh, did I miss something?
Oh, not that one. I haven't got one. I don't do karaoke.
Well, this one's it's true. People don't think so with John, but anyway, which one is it? You wanted to see a certain comment?
No. I was just saying, you were sifting through them. It was just a general comment. I just said I'm excited to see the next comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Well, this is true too. I mean, but I figure his reputation is so in the mud now, John, as far as I'm concerned. But especially by newbies, people that don't know, that he never did any good, hardly, for people and all that, but. Any satanic messages?
But you're right what you say, because even in some of those that you see, though, I can't remember what video it is now, but the one where he's walking through Central Park, and I think the Mind Games one as well, where people were stopping and he's doing autographs or photos or whatever.
Well, granted, I admit that I say that with Paul too. Granted, that's on camera, it's being recorded. I get that. But there's also, don't forget, even the jerk of all jerks, he signed for him. And asked, "Do you want is that it? Do you want anything else?" or
Yeah.
something. Come on,
Mm.
you know. But does anything? Oh, some people say memory almost full. Some people say I don't ever hear a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's much better on vinyl than it is on CD. It's really loud wars, isn't it?
Yeah.
On CD, it's quite horrible, but it's much better on vinyl. But I'd like Paul to do remixes. You know, he hasn't really. I mean, some of the albums sound really good. I mean, I played Flaming Pie today, the half-speed master of it, and it sounds fantastic. But some of those early Wings ones, I think, could do with a remix. Venus and Mars, I think, might benefit
Oh
from
yeah,
it.
you've mentioned that before, I think.
But he doesn't really do remixes, does he? Really?
What was interesting, as I thought, is I watched that. Finally caught up with the Man on the Run interview with Neville. I forget what his first name is. Morgan Neville?
Yeah, Morgan Neville, yeah.
And he was talking to him about, you know, like the Venus and Mars era and touring and all this. And he said about Rock Show, bringing out the song Rock Show again. And I think he said his band has been saying, "Oh, come on, we should do a Rock Show." And Paul's like, it's kind of embarrassing now. I don't know some of the lyrics, and he was, and the lyrics were there, and they're presenting him with the lyrics, and he was like making fun of some of the lyrics about the Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Paul, she's like, oh, and all this, and it's like a relic from a different age, and he's like reading Long Hair at the Madison Square. He's reading all this. He was like cringing at some of the words. Paul, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I think was that the same one where he said bit bop. How did I get away with that?
No, that wasn't the same one, but I heard him say that too. And I would say about Paul, it's a ditty. It's a little silly sing along. It's not a masterpiece. I can't think of a big composition. It's not what it is.
No.
So I love bit bop. It's what it is. And if you like something, you'll find a way to defend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is, a children's song is like, I'll defend Yellow Submarine as a children's song all day long, but try to get me to defend the Frog Chorus, same thing. I might not be able to defend it as well. I don't know. I think Ringo is what sells it for me. The fact that it's just another lovable Ringo horse. If one of the other Beatles was singing Yellow Submarine, maybe I wouldn't think it's just much fun, cute. It's a banger.
It's a banger.
That's another thing. Again, if Paul had passed away in 1973 or something, would you think that he would ever envision a day where his song was almost all Beatles? Or like half? I mean, his concerts were almost half Beatles or something. Would you ever believe that?
I don't think he should drop all Beatles songs.
No, me either. Wow, 3.5 hours. I got to start thinking about going, man. I have too good of a time though with Tone, but time just flew by.
It did.
Well, anything else here?
That's always the way to get more comments coming in. You say, right, we're just going to wrap it up now, and then suddenly there's about 4 or 5 comments appear.
The literary I can't say literary agent I was talking about, what is true is that Paul bought all his interview tapes with Linda. I think Paul and Linda were going through a bad time and Paul wanted it silent. See, that's the whole thing, the Linda tapes that they keep talking about. It was the Linda tape. It was the Heather tape. It was the Linda tapes. Well, honestly, I'm an old school guy. Look, on the one hand, you could say Ringo always was, I didn't know this up to the point, he was always willing to sign from his home. Like you could send him mail and he'd sign it. And I know somebody that got something back from him, but it took a couple of years. So he did that. Then he got a little tired of the fan mail thing. And they was worried. And these people, they're all worried about eBay and all that. And I keep thinking like, this is a sensitive subject because I'm old school. And I'm like, he's been doing this for years. Well, there's always new fans. There's people who love Paul and Ringo and would love, maybe they're like 17 or something. They'd like to get an autograph or from Ringo. And then you say, well, what about the dealers and these unscrupulous sellers? And I always think like, well, that sucks. But number one, I don't think it's going to hurt them any financially. And number two, if a dealer is out there and sells it, who gets it? Where does it go in the end? It goes into the hands of somebody that would have loved to meet Ringo or Paul and can get it. So I mean that's how I feel. I know you did a video on Paul autographs, Tone, recently. So yeah. I mean, I think you said you didn't even want the autograph. Really, you just wanted to meet Paul.
No, it wasn't that. It was yeah. That was the first time that I met him. It was for that High in the Clouds book that he did, which is a children's book. Now I wouldn't have even bought that book, if it weren't for the opportunity of getting it signed by him and having 90 seconds one-to-one conversation.
90 seconds a lot.
Yeah, it is, and that's what they told us. It was Waterstones, the bookstore,
90 seconds
that were doing. They said you've got 90 seconds with Paul.
90.
They said don't just say I love you. He knows you love him. Just ask him something that maybe he hasn't been asked or whatever. And so that was what I was saying. That I'm not really an autograph. What I was saying when I was talking about that is that I'm not really an autograph person. But that was a.
Well, I believe that because that's the ones that are always a privilege to meet them and get an autograph.
yeah. It's the meeting.
But I mean, it figures you get an autograph. You're not big on autographs, so you get an autograph. The people that want an autograph, they can't.
Yeah. But it was about meeting them as well.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. If I had a choice,
we've had amazing luck. We went to see Paul in Verona. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but we went to see Paul in Verona on the new tour 2013, and he was playing in this beautiful amphitheatre outside. But the night before, me and Mrs. Beatley, Tone, we went out to dinner, and she found this restaurant on TripAdvisor that she really fancied, and we went there, and they had the menu on the wall outside, and I looked at it, and I didn't really fancy it. It was a bit too faffy for me. If I go to an Italian restaurant, like pizza or steak or pasta or whatever like that, and it was a bit But she really wanted to go in, so we went in there and we sat down. We had dinner, and we got.
Yep, he's a little frozen again.
To the restaurant and sits down at a big table. Paul's band, the whole band, had arrived like the day before.
Now this sounds familiar. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I probably told you before.
But go ahead.
But yeah, so we when they all walked in, I said I can't not go and talk to them. So I went to their table. They'd only just sat down, so they hadn't ordered. We were already on the main course, and they sat down, and Abe was sitting at the end of the table, and I just said, Abe, we're big fans. Is it okay if we after you've eaten, could we have some photos with the band? And he just shouted down the table, "Is it all right if this guy had some photos after?" And they go, "Yeah, of course." So I just left them alone. But then we, because we were halfway through our meal and they hadn't even started. So we had to order another bottle of wine. By the time they'd finished, I was half cut by then. And but they did that, and they was just so lovely. They were so pleased. They were asking us all sorts, where you're from, have you seen the band before, and blah blah blah, and all this sort of thing. We had a photo, I've got it on the wall over there, a photo with with the whole band, and they were great. And that was just a complete fluke, just because we went to that restaurant that I didn't want to go to.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And that was my reward for putting up with faffy food.
It worked out for you. Yeah, I still would like to have one good experience. You know, and then I talk about the one time with Ringo where there was another hotel and I knew the hotel, and that was also in '95. Was the same period as with the Paul one, and he was doing Phil Donahue's show anyway, and anyway, I was at the hotel. And you know, Ringo came out of the limousine to go into the hotel. There were about 10 people there, and he walked past everybody. And he was just shaking his head, and he had the anthology hair, you know. It was like shoulder line, and he's just shaking his head, and he's going. I heard him like mumbling something, and he goes in there and he talks to the doorman. He's seeing him talk to the doorman. So I said, "What did he say?" He said, "Well, how do they expect me to do anything when they're mobbing me or something?" I can tell you they weren't mobbing him. I mean, he's been mobbed before. They were being polite. He was standing at distance, just reaching out for an autograph. But he didn't want to do it. And then he came out. I don't know if he was just going in to have a wee or something, but because he wasn't in there very long, and he came out, and it was the same thing. You know, just shaking it. They went back into the limousine. And I'm like, I haven't had luck because it was the Paul incident and that. And then there was the other one with Paul. Again, I gave you the one from '95. There was the one in '93 when he was doing Saturday Night Live in freezing cold February. And I did eventually get the autograph. But as I say, that autograph was not from him personally. It was so cold. He asked the stuff to be brought into the lobby, and he signed it in the lobby, and we got it back, which was nice. But before that, he was going in and out all day, right? He was going in and out. It was freezing cold. He'd go out. He was jogging, though. I got photos. I can show you the photos someday of him going in and out of the hotel. Sometimes there'd be 3 people there. Sometimes there'd be 30 people there. People kept gathering. Who's there? Who's here? And they had police barricades on either side of the entrance to the hotel. Anyway, so he got to this routine where he would say, "Good morning, everybody," and go out and jog. He had his jogging outfit on. Then he'd jog, come back a half hour later, go back in. "Hello, everybody," and go back in. Then he'd go maybe to lunch. He'd change. Everybody. Maybe the rehearsal of Saturday Night Live. He was going in and out. So one time I said, "I got to say something." Everybody knows this story. I said, "What am I going to say?" So I didn't know what the hell to say. So I said, "Paul, please, I came all the way from Canada." And he goes, "Did you? I came all the way from England." and then he went in the car and the limo took off. Now, I got a picture of my ex-wife when he turns to me and he says it to me. It's a little blurry, but you can see him. But and I'm thinking, I felt so like dissed. But then I thought, it's Paul. It's okay, you know. So what do I think? Canada's not that big far. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know geography. I just thought it was out far.
Yeah.
So Paul did this. I could say Paul did talk to me, and and he gave a joke. So at least that. Anyway, it's time to eat my dinner. I put it off long enough.
Oh, no.
But on that story, let me just say, there's lots of stuff here, people, but I can't get everything. If there's anything you spot, Tone, you want to answer, that's fine.
I'm just looking.
Was the band eating? What was that about Paul? Were the band eating meat while Paul wasn't there?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to what they were eating. But probably if they're not, a lot of vegetarians don't object to people that that they accept that people do what they want to do. I think, but I don't know.
And
but they probably were. Yeah, they probably thought they'd get it in because when they get the rider on gig night, it's all vegetarian food and stuff like that. They don't. They don't have meat and stuff.
Well, this was a long one, 3 hours and 43 minutes or something.
Oh my God, it's nearly 4 hours. I mean, I was surprised when I we watched a bit of TV tonight, and then I thought, right, I'll go and have a look on YouTube, and there you were, and I thought, oh Christ, he's still on.
Here I am. There's no word on this Beatle Fest yet. We don't know what's happening with the Beatle Fest, if there's going to be one revamped or not. And that's it. So, Tony, thank you for coming on here. Thank you very much, everybody else.
Thanks for having me.
We will be in touch with you on our channels. Don't forget Beatley Tone's Beatles channel and also my channel. So don't forget to watch the Beatle Board.
The Beatle Board.
the trivia questions and fun that you'll never forget. So enjoy.